Deuteronomy chapter 1 Introduction. These are words that Moses spoke to all Israel beyond the Jordan in wilderness, in the Arabah opposite Sop, between Paran and Tophel, Laban, Harolos, and Dizabhar. It is journey of the 11th day from the Horeb to Kadesh Barnea by way of the highland of the Seir. In the 40th year, on the first day of the 11th month, Moses spoke to the Israelites according to all that the Lord had commanded him to speak to them. After he had defeated Sihon, king of the Amorites, who reigned in the Heshbon, and Og, king of the Bashan, who reigned in the Ashtaroth and in Edrei. Beyond the Jordan in the land of the Moab, Moses undertook to explain this law. Departure from Horeb. The Lord our God said to us at Horeb, "You have stayed long enough at these mountains. Leave here and go to hill country of the Amorite and to all the surrounding regions, the Arabah, the mountain, the Sepharad, the Negev and the sea coast, the land of the Canaanite and the Lebanon as far as the great river the Euphrates. See, I have given the land over to you. Go now and possess the land to the Lord swore to your ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, to give to them and to their descendants after them." Appointment of the elders. At that time I said to you, "I am unable to carry you by myself. The Lord your God has made you numerous, and now you are as numerous as the stars of the heavens. May the Lord, the God of your ancestors, increase you 1,000 times over and bless you as he promised. But how can I by myself bear the weight, the contentiousness of you? Provide wise, discerning, and reputable person for each of your tribes, that I may appoint them as your leaders." You answer me, "What you have proposed is good." So I took the leader of your tribes, wise and reputable, and set them as leaders over you, commanders over thousands, over hundreds, over 50, or over tens, and other tribal officials. I charge your judges at that time, listen to the complaint among your relatives, and administer true justice to both parties, even if one of them is resident aliens. In rendering judgment, do not consider who a person is. Give ear to lowly and to great alike, fearing no one, for the judgment is God's. Any case that is too difficult for you, bring to me, and I will hear it. Thus I charge you at that time with all the things you were to do. The 12 scouts. Then we set out from the Horeb and journeyed through that whole vast and fearful wilderness that you have seen, in the direction of the hill country of the Amorites, as the Lord our God had commanded, and we came to Kadesh Barnea. I said to you, "You have come to hill country of the Amorite, which the Lord our God is giving us. See, the Lord your God has given this land over to you. Go up and take possession of it, as the Lord the God of your ancestors has promised to you. Do not fear or be dismayed." Then all of you approached me and said, "Let us send men ahead to spy out the land for us and report to us the road we should follow and the city we will come upon." Agreeing with the proposal, I took 12 men from your number, one from each tribe. They set out into the hill country as far as the Wadi Eshcol and explored it. Then, taking along some of the fruit of the land, they brought it down to us and reported, "The land the Lord our God is giving us is good." Threat of the report. But you refuse to go up, you defy the command of the Lord your God. You said to murmuring in your tent, out of the hatred for us the Lord has brought us out of the land of Egypt, to deliver us into the power of the Amorite and destroy us. What shall I meet with up there? Our men have made our heart melt by saying, the people are bigger and taller than we, and their city are large and fortified to the sky. Besides, we saw the Anakim there. But I say to you, have no dread or fear of them. The Lord your God who goes before you is the one who will fight for you, just as he acted with you before your very eyes in Egypt. As well as in the wilderness where you saw how the Lord your God carried you as the one carried his own child, as along your journeys until you arrived at this place. Despite this, you would not trust the Lord your God, who journeys before you to find your place to camp by night in the fire and by day in the cloud to show you the way to go. When the Lord heard your words, he was angry and took on us. Not a single one of these evil generations shall look upon the good land I swore to give to your ancestors. Except the Caleb son of the Jephunneh, he shall see the for to him and to his descendant I will give the land he trod upon, because he has fully followed the Lord. The Lord was angered against me also on your account, and said, you shall not enter their idols. But Joshua son of Nun, your attendant, shall enter, encourage him, for he is the one who is to give Israel its possession. Your little ones who will said would become pruned, and your children who as yet do not know good from evil, they shall enter there. To them I'll give it, and they shall take possession of it. But as for yourselves, turn back and proceed into wilderness under Let's See Lord. Unsuccessful invasion. In reply, you said to me, we have sinned against the Lord. We will go up ourselves and fight, just as the Lord our God commanded us. And each of you girded on his weapons, making a right of going up into the hill countries. But the Lord said to me, warn them, do not go up and fight, for I will not be in your midst, lest you be beaten down before your enemies. I gave you this warning, but you would not listen. You defied the Lord's command and arrogantly went out into the hill countries. Then the Amorite living in that hill country came out against you and put you to flight the way bees do, cutting you down in Seir as far as Hormah. On your return you wept before the Lord, but the Lord did not listen to your voice or give ear to you. That is why you had to stay as long as you did at Kadesh. Deuteronomy chapter 2, northwards along Edom. Then we turned and proceeded into the wilderness on the Red Sea road, as the Lord has told me, and circled around the highland of the sea for a long time. Finally, the Lord said to me, you have wandered around this highland long enough, turn and go north. Command the people, you are now about to pass through the territory of your relatives, the descendants of Esau, who live in Seir. Though they are afraid of you, be very careful not to come in conflict with them, for I will not give you so much as a foot of their land, since I have already given Esau possession of the highland of the Seir. You shall purchase from them with money the food you eat, even the water you drink, you shall buy from them with money. Surely the Lord your God has blessed you in all your undertaking. He has been concerned about your journey through this vast wilderness. It is now 40 years that the Lord your God has been with you, and you have lacked nothing. So we passed by our relatives, the descendants of the Esau who live in Seir, leaving behind us the Arabah, Lut, Elas, and the Ezion in Gibeon. Along Moab, then we turned and passed on toward the wilderness of the Moab. And the Lord said to me, do not show hostility to the Moabites or engage them in the battle. For I will not give you possession of any of their land, since I have given all to the descendants of the Lot as possession. Formerly the Emim lived there, a people great and numerous and as tall as the Anakim. Like the Anakim, they are considered Rephaim, though the Moabites call them Emims. In Seir, however, the former inhabitants were the whole right, the descendants of the Esau dispossessed them, clearing them out of the way of the dwelling in their place, just as the Israel has done in the land of its possession, which the Lord gave it. Now get ready to cross the Wadi Jerad. So we crossed the Wadi Jerad. Now 38 years had elapsed between our departure from the Kadesh Barnea and the crossing of the Wadi Jerad. In the meantime, the whole generation of the soldiers had perished from the camp, as the Lord had sworn they should. Indeed, the Lord's own hand was against them to allow them from the camp completely along Ammon. When at length death had put an end to all the soldiers among the people, the Lord said to me, you are now about to leave Ar and the territory of the Moab behind. As you come opposite the Ammonites, do not show hostility or come in conflict with them, for I will not give you possession of any land of the Ammonites, since I have given it to the descendants of Lot as their possession. This also is considered the country of the Rephaim. Formerly the Rephaim dwelt there. The Ammonites called them Jamjun-min. A people great and numerous and as tall as the Anakim, but these two the Lord cleared out of the way of the Ammonites, so that they dispossessed them and dwelt in their place. He did the same for the descendants of the Esau who live in the sea by clearing the Horite out of their way, so that they dispossessed them and dwelt in their place down to the present. As for Avim, who once lived in villages in the vicinity of the Gaza, the Capatorim, migrating from the Kafur, cleared them away and dwelt in their place, the feet of the Sihon. Advance now across the Wadi Arnon, I know deliver into your power Sihon, the Ammonite king of the Heshbon, and his land. Begin to keep possession, engage him in the battles. This day I will begin to put out fear and the dread of you into the peoples everywhere under heaven, so that at the mention of your name they will quake and tremble before you. So I sent a messenger from the wilderness of the Kedemos of the Sihon, king of the Heshbon, with this offer of peace. Let me pass through your country. I will travel only on the road. I will not turn aside either to right or to left. The food I eat you will sell me for money, and the water I drink you will give me for money. Only let me march through. As the descendants of the Esau who dwell in the Seir and the Moabite who dwell in the Ar have done, until I cross the Jordan into the land of the Lord our God is about to give us. But Sihon, king of the Heshbon, refused to let us pass through his land, because the Lord your God made him stubborn in mind and obstinate in heart, that he might deliver him into your power, as indeed he has now done. Then the Lord said to me, now that I have already begun to give over to you Sihon, and his land begin to take possession. So Sihon and all his people advanced against us to join battle at Jahaz. But since the Lord our God had given him over to us, we defeated him and his son and all his peoples. At that time, we captured all his city and put every city under a ban, men, women, and children. We left no survivors. Our only plunder was the livestock and the spoil of the captured cities. From Aroer on the edge of the Wadi Arnon and from the town in the Wadi itself, as far as Gilead, no city was too well fortified for us. All of them the Lord our God gave over to us. However, just as the Lord our God commanded us, you did not encroach upon any of the Ammonite land, neither the region bordering on the Wadi Jabor, nor the city of the highlands. Deuteronomy chapter 3, Defeat of Ox. Then we turned and proceeded of the road of the Bashan, but our king of the Bashan came out against us with all his people to give battle at the Edrei. The Lord said to me, do not be afraid of him, for I will deliver him into your power with all his people and his land. Do to him as you did to Sihon, king of the Amorites, who reigned in Heshbon. And thus the Lord our God delivered into our power also our king of the Bashan with all his people. We defeated him so completely that we left him no survivors. At that time we captured all his cities. There was no town we did not take. 6 cities in all, the whole region of the Argob, the kingdom of the Og in Bashan. All these cities were fortified with high walls and gates and bars, besides a great number of the unwalled towns. As we had done to Sihon, king of the Heshbon, so also here we put all the town under the ban, men, women, and children. But all the livestock and the spoil of each city we took as plunder for ourselves. And so at that time we took from the 2 kings of the Amorites beyond the Jordan territory from the Wadi Arnon to Mountain Hermon. The Sidonian called the Hermon Syrian, and the Amorites called it Sinos. All the town of the plateau, all of the Gilead, and all of the Bashan as far as the Salakah and the Edrei, town of the kingdom of the Og in Bashan. Our king of the Bashan was the last remaining survivor of the Rephaim. He had a bed of the iron, 9 regular cubits long and 4 wide, which is still preserved in the Rabbah of the Ammonites. Allotment of the conquered lands. As for the land he took possession of at that time, I gave Reuben and Gad the territory from Aroer, on the edge of the Wadi Arnon, halfway up into highland of the Gilead with its cities. The rest of the Gilead and all the Bashan, the kingdom of the Og, I gave to the half tribe of the Manasseh. The whole Argob region, all that part of the Bashan, was once called a land of the Rephaim. Zair of the Manassite took all the region of the Argob as far as the border of the Geshurite and the Maacathites, and named them Bashan. That is after himself Havoth Jair, the name it bears today. To Machir I gave Gilead, and to Reuben and Gad the territory from the Gilead to the Wadi Arnon, the middle of the Wadi being its boundary, and to the Wadi Jabor, which is the border of the Ammonites, as well as the Arabah with the Jordan and its banks from the Chinin rise to the South Sea of the Arabah, under the slope of the Pisgah on the east. At that time I charge you, the Lord your God has given you this land as your possession, but all your troops equipped for battle must cross over in the vanguard of your fellow Israelites. But your wives and children as well as your livestock, of which I know you have a large number, shall remain behind in the town I have given you, until the Lord has settled your relatives as well, and they to possess the land which the Lord your God will give them on the other side of the Jordan. Then you may all return to possession I have given you. And I charge Joshua as well. Your own eyes have seen all that the Lord your God has done to both these things. So to will the Lord to all the kingdom into which you will cross over. Do not fear them, for it is the Lord your God who will fight for you. Moses excluded from the promised land. It was then that I entreated the Lord God, you have begun to show to your servant your greatness and your mighty hand. What God in heaven and earth can perform these and powerful acts like yours? Let me cross over the sea, the good land beyond the Jordan, then find hill country and the Lebanons. But the Lord was angry with me on your account and would not hear me. The Lord said to me, enough, speak to me no more of this. Go up to top of the Pisgah and look out to the west and to the north, to the south, to the east. Look well, for you shall not cross this Jordan. Commission Joshua and encourage and strengthen him, for it is he who will cross at the head of this people, and he who will give them possession of the land you are to see. So we remained in the valley opposite the best fields. Deuteronomy chapter 4, advantage of the fidelities. Now therefore, Israel, hear the statute and the ordinance I am teaching you to observe, that you may live and may enter in and take possession of the land which the Lord the God of your ancestor is giving you. In your observance of the commandment of the Lord your God, which I am commanding you, you shall not add to what I command you, not subtract from it. You have seen with your own eyes what the Lord did at the Baal-peor. The Lord your God destroyed from you midst everyone who followed the Baal of the Peors. But you who held fast to the Lord your God are all alive today. See, I am teaching you the statute and the ordinance as the Lord my God has commanded me, that you may observe them in the land you are entering to possess. Observe them carefully, for this is your wisdom and discernment in the sight of the peoples, who will hear of all these statutes and say, this great nation is truly wise and discerning peoples. For what great nation is there that has God so close to it as the Lord our God is to us whenever we call upon him? Or what great nation has statute and ordinance that are just as this whole law which I am setting before you today? Revelation of Horeb. However, be on your guard and be very careful not to forget the things your own eyes have seen, nor let them slip from your heart as long as you live, but make them known to your children and to your children's children. That day you stood before the Lord your God at Horeb, when the Lord said to me, assemble the people for me, that I may let them hear my words, that they may learn to fear me as long as they live in the land, and may so teach their children. You came near and stood at the foot of the mountain, while the mountain blazed to the heart of the heavens with fire, and was enveloped in a dense black cloud. Then the Lord spoke to you from the midst of the fire. You heard the sound of the words, but saw no form. There was only a voice. He proclaimed to you his covenant, which he commanded you to keep, the 10 rules which he wrote onto stone tablet. At that time the Lord charged me to teach you your statute and ordinance for you to observe in the land you are about to cross into the possess. Danger of the idolatries. Because you saw no form at all on the day of the Lord spoke to you at Horeb from the midst of the fire. Be strictly on your guard, not to act corruptly by fashioning an idol for yourself to represent any figures, whether it be the form of the man and a woman's, the form of any animal on the earth, the form of any birds that fly in the sky. the form of anything that crawl on the ground, the form of any fish in the waters under the earth. And when you look up to the heavens and behold the sun and the moon and the stars, the whole heavenly host, do not be led astray into bowing down to them and serving them. This the Lord your God has apportioned to all the other nations under the heavens. But you, the Lord has taken and led out the iron foundries, Egypt, that you might be his people, his heritage as you are today. But the Lord was angry with me on your account and swore that I should not cross the Jordan, nor enter the good land which the Lord your God is giving you as a heritage. I myself shall die in this country. I shall not cross the Jordan, but you are going to cross over to take possession of that good land. Be careful, therefore, lest you forget the covenant which the Lord your God has made with you, and fashion for yourselves again his command, the idol, in any form whatsoever. For the Lord your God is a consuming fire in jealous God. God, fidelity and love. When you have children and children, and have grown old in the land, should you then act corruptly by fasting idol in the form of anything, and by this evil done in his sight provoke the Lord your God? I call heaven and earth this day to witness against you, that you shall all quickly perish from the land which you are crossing the Jordan to possess. You shall not live in it for any length of the time, but shall be utterly wiped out. The Lord will scatter you among the peoples, and there shall remain but a handful of you among the nations to which the Lord will drive you. There you shall serve God that are the work of the human hands, of wood and stone, God which can neither see nor hear, neither eat nor smell. Yet when you seek the Lord your God from there, you shall indeed find him if you search after him with all your heart and soul. In your distress, when all these things shall have come upon you, you shall finally return to the Lord your God and listen to his voice. Since the Lord your God is a merciful God, he will not abandon or destroy you, nor forget the covenant with your ancestors that he swore to them. Ask now of the day of the old before your time, ever since God created humankind upon the earth. Ask from one end of the sky to the others. Did anything so great ever happen before? Was it ever heard of? Did the people ever hear the voice of the God speaking from the midst of the fire as you did as a reed? Or did any God venture to go and take a nation for himself from the midst of another nation by testing, by sign and wonders, by war with a strong hand and outstretched arm, and by great terrors, all of which the Lord your God? All this you are allowed to see, that you might know the Lord is God, there is no other. Out of the heaven he let you hear his voice to discipline you. On earth he let you see his great fire, and you heard him speaking out of the fire. For love your ancestors he chose their descendants after them, and by his presence and great power led you out of Egypt. Dispossessing before you nation great and mightier than you, so as to bring you in and to give their land to you as a heritage, as it is today. This is why you must now acknowledge and fix in your heart that the Lord is God in the heavens above and on earth below, and that there is no other. And you must keep his statute and the commandment which I command you today, that you and your children after you may prosper, that you may have long life on the land which the Lord your God is giving you forever, city of the refugee. Then Moses set apart 3 cities in the region east of the Jordan, to which a homicide might flee who kill a neighbor unintentionally, where there had been no hatred previously, so that the killer might flee to one of these cities and live. Be zero in the wilderness in the region of the plateau for the Reubenite, Lamos in the grid for the Gadite, and the Golan in the Bashan for the Manassite. Introduction. This is the law which Moses set before the Israelites. These are the decrees and the statutes and the ordinances which Moses proclaimed to the Israelites after they came out of Egypt. Beyond the Jordan in the valley opposite the Beth Peor, in the land of the Sihon, king of the Amorites, who reigned the Heshbon, whom Moses and the Israelites defeated after they came out of Egypt. They took possession of his land and the land of the Og, the king of the Bashan, as well, the land of those two kings of the Amorites in the region beyond the Jordan to the east. From Aroer on the edge of the Wadi Arnon to Mount Sihon, that is Hormuz, and all the Arabah beyond the Jordan to the east, as far as the Arabah Sea under the slope of the Pishgar. Deuteronomy chapter 5, the covenant of the Horeb. Moses summoned all Israel and said to them, Hear, O Israel, the statute and the ordinance which I proclaim in your hearing this day, that you may run them and take care to observe them. The Lord our God made the covenant with us at the Horeb. Not with our ancestors did the Lord make this covenant, but with us, all of us who are alive here this day. Face to face, the Lord spoke with you on the mountain from the midst of the fire. While I was standing between the Lord and you at that time to announce to you these words of the Lord, since you are afraid of the fire and would not go up the mountain. The Decalogue. I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of the slavery. You shall not have other God beside me. You shall not make for yourself either or a likeness of anything in the heavens above or on the earth below or in the waters beneath the earth. You shall not bow down before them or serve them, for I, the Lord your God, am the jealous God, bring punishment for their apparent wickedness on the children of those who hate me, down to the third and the fourth generation, but showing love down to the thousandth generation of those who love me and keep my commandment. You shall not invoke the name of the Lord your God in vain, for the Lord will not leave unpunished anyone who invokes his name in vain. Observe the Sabbath day, keep it holy, as the Lord your God commanded you. 6 days you may labor and do all your works. But the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord your God. You shall not do any work, either you, your son or your daughter, your male or female slave, your ox and the donkey, or any work animal, or resident alien within your gate, so that your male and the female slave may rest as you do. Remember that you too were once slaves in the land of Egypt, as the Lord your God brought you out with a strong hand and outstretched arm. That is why the Lord your God has commanded you to observe the Sabbath day. Honor your father and your mother as the Lord your God has commanded you, that you may have a long life and that you may prosper in the land the Lord your God is giving you. You shall not kill, you shall not commit adultery, you shall not steal, you shall not bear dishonest witness against your neighbor. You shall not covet your neighbor's wife, you shall not desire your neighbor's house or field, his male or female slave, his ox and donkey, or anything that belongs to your neighbors. Moses as mediators. These words the Lord spoke with a loud voice to your entire assembly on the mountain from the midst of the fire, the dense black cloud, and at the no more. He inscribed them on 2 stone tablets and gave them to me. But when you heard the voice from the midst of the darkness, while the mountain was ablaze with fire, you came near to me and all your tribal heads and elders. and said, The Lord our God has indeed let us see his glory and his greatness, and we have heard his voice from the midst of the fire. Today we have found out that God may speak tomorrow and that person may still live. Now why should we die? For the discreet fire will consume us. If we hear the voice of the Lord our God anymore, we shall die. For what mortal has heard the voice of the living God speaking from the midst of the fire, as we have and lived? You go close and listen to all that the Lord our God will say, and then tell us what the Lord our God tells you. You will listen and obey. The Lord heard your words as you were speaking to me, and said to me, I have heard the words these people have spoken to you, which are already said. Would that they might always be of such a mind to fear me as to keep all my commandments, then they and their descendants would prosper forever. Go tell them, return to your tent. Then you stand here near me, and I will give you all the commandments, the statute and the ordinance. You must teach them, that they may observe them in the land I am giving them to possess. Be careful therefore to do as the Lord your God has commanded you, not turning aside to the right or to the left, but following exact the way that the Lord your God commanded you, that you may live and prosper, and may have long life in the land which you are to possess. Deuteronomy chapter 6. This then is the commandment, the statute and ordinance, which the Lord your God has commanded that you be taught to observe in the land you are about to cross into possess. So that you, that is you, your child and your grandchild, may fear the Lord your God by keeping as long as you live all his statute and commandment which I enjoin on you, and thus have a long life. Hear then, Israel, and be careful to observe them, that it may go well with you, and that you may increase greatly. For the Lord, the God of your ancestors, promised you a land flowing with milk and honey. The Great Commandment. Hear, O Israel, the Lord is our God, the Lord alone. Therefore you shall love the Lord your God with your whole heart, and with your whole being, and with your whole strength. Take to heart these words which I command you today, repeating them to your children. Recite them when you are at home and when you are away, when you lie down and when you get up. Bind them on your arm as a sign, and let them be as a pendant on your forehead. Write them on the doorpost of your house and on your gate. Fidelity in prosperities. When the Lord your God brings you into the land which he swore to your ancestors, to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, that he would give you a land with fine, large cities that you did not build, with houses full of goods of the old soil of that you did not gather, with cisterns that you did not dig, with vineyard and olive groves that you did not plant. And when therefore you eat and are satisfied, be careful not to forget the Lord who brought you out of the land of Egypt, that house of the slaveries. The Lord your God shall you fear, him shall you serve, and by his name shall you swear. You shall not go after other gods, any of the gods of the surrounding peoples. For the Lord your God, who is in your midst, in the passionate God, arrest the anger of the Lord your God, flare against you, and he destroy your farm upon the land. You shall not put the Lord your God to the test, as you did not at the Mashal. But keep the commandment of the Lord your God, and the decree and the statutes he has commanded you. Do what is right and good in the sight of the Lord, that it may go well with you, and you may enter in and possess the good land which the Lord promised on us to your ancestors. driving all your enemies out of your way as the Lord has promised. Instruction to children. Later on, when your son asks you what do this decree and statute and ordinance means, which the Lord our God has enjoined on you, you shall say to your son, we were once slaves of the Pharaoh in Egypt, but the Lord brought us out of Egypt with a strong hand. And the Lord before our eyes signs and wonders great and dire against Egypt and against the Pharaoh and his whole house. He brought us from there to bring us in and give us the land he had promised on us to our ancestors. The Lord commanded us to observe all these statutes in fear of the Lord our God, that we may always have as good as a life as we have today. This is our justice before the Lord our God, to observe carefully this whole commandment he has enjoined on us. Deuteronomy chapter 7, Destruction of the nation in the land. When the Lord your God brings you into the land which you are about to enter to possess, and removes many nations before you, the Hittite, the Girgashite, the Amorite, the Canaanite, Perizzite, the Hittite, and the Jebusite, the 7 nations more numerous and powerful than you. And when the Lord your God gives them over to you and you defeat them, you shall put them under the ban, make no covenant with them, and do not be gracious to them. You shall not intermarry with them, neither giving your daughter to their sons, nor taking their daughters for your sons. For they would turn your son from the following me to the serving other gods, and then the anger of the Lord would flare up against you, and he would quickly destroy you. But this is how you must deal with them: tear down their altars, smash their sacred pillars, chop down their asherahs, and destroy their idols by fire. For you are people only to the Lord your God. The Lord your God has chosen you from all the peoples on the face of the earth to be people, especially his own. It was not because you are more numerous than all the peoples that the Lord set his heart on you and chose you, for you are really smallest of the all peoples. It was because the Lord loved you and because of the fidelity to the oath he had sworn to your ancestors, that the Lord brought you out with a strong hand and redeemed you from the house of the slavery, from the hand of the Pharaoh king of Egypt. Know then the Lord your God is God, the faithful God who keeps covenant most to the thousandth generation toward those who love him and keep his commandment. But who repays with destruction those who hate him. He does not delay with those who hate him, but makes them pay for it. Therefore carefully observe the commandment, the statute, and the ordinance which I command you today. Blessing of the obedience. As your reward for the heeding these ordinances and keeping them carefully, the Lord your God will keep with you the covenant, the mercy he promised on oath to your ancestors. He will love and bless you and multiply you. He will bless the fruit of your womb and the produce of your soil, your grain and wine and oil, the young of your herds and the offspring of your flock, in the land which he swore to your ancestors he would give you. You will be blessed above all peoples. No man or woman among you shall be childless, nor shall your livestock be barren. The Lord will remove all sickness from you. He will not afflict you with any of the malignant disease that you know from Egypt, but will leave them with all those who hate you. You shall consume all the peoples which the Lord your God is giving over to you. You are not to look on them with pity, nor serve their gods, for that would be a snare to you. If you say to yourselves, these nations are more numerous than we, how can it dispossess them? Do not be afraid of them, rather remember clearly what the Lord your God did to Pharaoh and to all Egypt. The great testing which your own eyes have seen, the sign and the wonders, the strong hand and the outstretched arm with which the Lord your God brought you out. The same also will he do all the peoples of whom you are now afraid. Moreover, the Lord your God will send hornets among them until those who are left and those who are hiding from you are destroyed. Therefore, do not be terrified by them, for the Lord your God who is in your midst is a great and awesome God. He will remove these nations before you little by little. You cannot finish with them quickly, lest the wild beasts become too numerous for you. The Lord your God will give them over to you and throw them into utter panic until they are destroyed. He will deliver their kings into your power, that you may make their names perish from under the heavens. No one will be able to stand up against you till you have destroyed them. The image of their God you shall destroy by fire. Do not covet their silver or gold on them, nor take it for yourselves, lest you be ensnared by it, for it is an abomination to the Lord your God. You shall not bring any abominable things into your house, so as to be like it. Under the ban, loathe and abhor it utterly, for it is under the ban. Deuteronomy chapter 8, God's care. Deuteronomy chapter 8, God's care. Careful to observe this whole commandment that I enjoin on you today, that you may live and increase, and may enter in and possess the land which the Lord promised on oath to your ancestors. Remember how for these 40 years the Lord your God has directed all your journeying in the wilderness, so as to test you by affliction, to know what was in your heart, to keep his commandment or not. He therefore let you be afflicted with hunger, and then fed you with the manna of food unknown to you and your ancestors, so you might know that it is not by bread alone that people live, but by all that comes forth from the mouth of the Lord. The clothing did not fall from you in tatters, nor did your feet swell these 40 years. So you must know in your heart that even as a man disciplines his son, so the Lord your God disciplines you. Therefore keep the commandment of the Lord your God by walking in his ways and fearing him. Cautions about the prosperities. For the Lord your God is bringing you into the good country, a land with a stream of the water, with spring and the fountains welling up in the hills and the valleys. A land of the wheat and the barley, of vines of the fig tree and the pomegranates, of olive trees and of honey. A land where you always have bread and where you will lack nothing. A land whose stones contain iron and in whose hills you can mine copper. But when you have eaten and are satisfied, you must bless the Lord your God for the good land he has given you. Be careful not to forget the Lord your God by failing to keep his commandment and the ordinances and the statutes which are enjoined on you today. Lest when you have eaten and are satisfied, and you have built the fine houses and lived in them, and your herds and flocks have increased, your silver and gold has increased, and all your property has increased, you then become haughty of the heart and forget the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land Egypt, that house of the slavery. He guided you through the vast and the terrible wilderness with its serpent and the scorpions, its parched and the waterless ground. He brought forth water for you from the flinty rocks, and fed you in the wilderness with manna or food unknown to your ancestors, that we might afflict you and test you, but also make you prosperous in the end. Otherwise, you might say in your heart, it is my own power and the strength of my own hand that has got me this wealth. Remember then the Lord your God, for he is the one who gives you the power to get wealth by fulfilling as he has now done. the covenant he swore to your ancestors. But if you do not forget the Lord your God and go after other gods, serving and bowing down to them, I bear witness to you this day that you will perish utterly. Like the nation which the Lord destroyed before you, so shall you to perish for not listening to the voice of the Lord your God. Deuteronomy chapter 9, Unmerited Success. Hear, O Israel, you are now about to cross the Jordan to enter in and dispossess nation greater and stronger than yourselves, having right cities fortified to the heavens. The Anakim, a people great and tall, you yourself know of them and have wholly set up them. Who can stand up against them, Anakim? Know then today that is the Lord your God, who will cross over before you as a consuming fire. It is who will destroy them and subdue them before you, so that you can dispossess and remove them quickly as the Lord promised you. After the Lord your God has driven them out of your way, do not say in your heart, it is because of my justice the Lord has brought me in to possess this land. And because of the wickedness of this nation, the Lord is dispossessing them before me. No, it is not because of your justice or the integrity of the heart that you are going in to take possession of their land. But it is because of their wickedness that the Lord your God is dispossessing this nation before you, and in order to fulfill the promise he made on earth to your ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Know this, therefore, it is not because of your justice that the Lord your God is giving you this good land to possess, for you are stiff-necked peoples. The golden calf. Remember and do not forget how you angered the Lord your God in the wilderness from the day you left the land of Egypt until you came to this place. You have been rebellious toward the Lord. At Horeb you so provoked the Lord that you was angry enough to destroy you. When I had gone up the mountain to receive the stone tablet of the covenant which the Lord made with you. Meanwhile, I stayed on the mountain 40 days and 40 nights. I ate no food and drank no water. The Lord gave me the stone tablet inscribed by God's own finger with a copy of all of the words that Lord spoke to you on the mountain from the midst of the fire on the day of the assembly. Then at the end of the 40 days and the 40 nights, when the Lord had given me the two stone tablets, the tablet of the covenant, the Lord said to me, go down from here now, quickly, for your people whom you have brought out of the Egypt are acting corruptibly. They have already turned aside from the way I commanded them and have made for themselves molten idols. I have seen now how stiff-necked this people is, the Lord said to me. Let me be that I may destroy them and blot out their name from under the heavens. I will then make up your nation mightier than, greater than they. When I had come down again from the blazing, fiery mountain with the two tablets of the covenant in both my hands, I saw how you had sinned against the Lord your God by making for yourselves molten calves. You had already turned aside from the way which the Lord had commanded you. I took hold of the two tablets and with both hands cast them from me and broke them before your eyes. Then as before I lay prostrated before the Lord for 40 days and 40 nights. I ate no foods. I drank no water because of all the sin you had committed in the sight of the Lord, dying wrong and provoking him. For I dreaded the fierce anger of the Lord against you. His wrath would destroy you. Yet once again the Lord listened to me. With Aaron too, the Lord was deeply angry and would have destroyed him, but I prayed for Aaron also at that time. Then taking the carved sinful object you had made, I burnt it and ground it down to the powder as fine as dust, which I threw into the wadi that went down the mountainside. At Taberah, at the Mashra, and at the Kibros Habbavars, likewise you enraged the Lord. And when the Lord sent you out from the Kadesh Barnea, saying, Go and take possession of the land I have given you, you rebelled against this command of the Lord your God, and would not believe him or listen to his voice. You have been rebellious against the Lord from the day I first knew it. Those 40 days, then the 49th, I lay prostrated before the Lord because he had threatened to destroy you. And I prayed to the Lord and said, O Lord God, do not destroy your people, the heritage you redeemed in your greatness and had brought out of Egypt with your strong hand. Remember your servant Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Do not look upon the stubbornness of these people, nor upon their wickedness and sin. Rest the land from which you have brought us, say, the Lord was not able to bring them into the land he promised them. And out of hatred for them, he brought them out to let them die in the wilderness. They are your people and your heritage, whom you have brought out by your great power and with your outstretched arm. Deuteronomy chapter 10. At that time the Lord said to me, Cut 2 stone tablets like the first ones who come up the mountain to me. Also make an ark out of wood. I will write upon the tablet the words that were on the tablet that you broke, and you shall place them in the ark. So I made an ark of the acacia wood and cut 2 stone tablets like the first ones, and went up to mountain with the 2 tablets in my hands. The Lord then wrote on the tablet as he had written before, the 10 words that the Lord had spoken to you on the mountain from the midst of the fire on the day of the assembly. And the Lord gave them to me. Then I turned and came down from the mountain and placed the tablet in the ark I had made. There they had remained as the Lord commanded me. The Israelites set out from Beeros Yakam from Moserah. Aaron died there and was buried. His son Eleazar succeeded him as priest. From there they set out from Gudgoda, and from Gudgoda for Jotbathar, a region where there is water in the wadis. At that time the Lord set apart the tribe of the Levi to carry the ark of the covenant of the Lord, to stand before the Lord to minister to him, and to bless in his name as they had done to this day. For the reason Levi has no hereditary portion with his relatives, the Lord himself is a portion, as the Lord your God promised him. Meanwhile, I stayed on the mountain as I did before, 40 days and 40 nights, and once again the Lord listened to me. The Lord was unwilling to destroy you. The Lord said to me, Go now and set out at the head of the people, that they may enter in and possess the land, and I swore to the ancestors I would give them. The Lord's majesty and compassion. Now therefore, Israel, what does the Lord your God ask of you but to fear the Lord? You got to follow in all his ways, to love and serve the Lord your God, with your whole heart and with your whole being, to keep the commandment and statute of the Lord that I am commanding you today for your own well-being. Look, the heavens, even the highest heaven, belong to the Lord your God, as well as the earth and everything on it. Yet only on your ancestors did the Lord set his heart to love them. He chose you, their descendants, from all the people as it is today. Circumcise therefore the foreskin of your heart, and be stiff-necked no longer. For the Lord your God is the God of gods, the Lord of the lords, the great God, mighty and awesome, who has no favorite, accept no bribes. who executes the justice for the orphan and the widow, and loves the resident alien, giving the food and the clothing. So you too should love the resident alien, for that is what you were in the land of the Egypt. The Lord your God shall you fear, and him shall you serve, to him hold fast, and by his name shall you swear. He is your praise, he is your God, who has done for you those great and awesome things that your own eyes have seen. 70 strong your ancestors went down to Egypt, and now the Lord your God has made you as numerous as the stars of the heaven. Deuteronomy chapter 11, recalling the wonder of the Lord. Love the Lord your God therefore, and keep his charges, statutes, ordinances, and the commandment always. Recall today that it was not your children who have neither known nor seen the discipline of the Lord your God, his greatness, his strong hand, and the outstretched arm. The sign and deeds he wrote in the midst of the Egypt on Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and on all his land. What he did to the Egyptian army and to their horses and the chariot, engulfing them in the water of the Red Sea as they pursued you, so that the Lord destroyed them even to this day. What he did for you in the wilderness until you came to this place, and what he did to the Reubenite, Dathan, and Abiram, son of the Eliab, when the earth opened his mouth and swallowed them up out of the midst of the Israel, with their families and tents and every living thing that belongs to them. But it was you who saw with your own eyes all these great deeds that the Lord has done, the gift of the rain. So keep all the commandment I give you today, that you may be strong enough to enter in and take possession of the land that you are crossing over to possess, and that you may have a long life on the land which the Lord swore to your ancestors that he would give to them and their descendants, a land flowing with milk and honey. The land you are to enter and possess is not like the land of the Egypt from which you have come, where you would sow your seed and then water it by hand, as in a vegetable gardens. No, the land which you are crossing to take possession is the land of the mountain and the valleys that drinks in the rain from the heavens. A land which the Lord your God looks after, the eyes of the Lord your God are upon it continually through the year, from the beginning to end. If then you truly listen to my commandment which I give you today, loving and serving the Lord your God with your whole heart and your whole being, will give the seasonal rain to your land, the early rain and the late rain, that you may have your grain, wine, and oil to gather in. And I'll bring forth grass in your fields for your animals, thus you may eat and be satisfied. But be careful, lest your heart be so lured away that you serve as God and bow down to them. For then the anger of the Lord will flare up against you, and he will close up the heavens, so that no rain will fall, and the soil will not yield its crops. And you will soon perish from the good land the Lord is giving you. Need for fidelity. Therefore take these words of mine into your heart and soul, bind them on your arm as a sign, and let them be as a pendant on your forehead. Teach them to your children, speaking of them when you are at home and when you are away, when you lie down and when you get up. And write them on the doorpost of your houses and on your gate, so that as long as the heavens are above the earth, you and your children may live on the land which the Lord swore to your ancestors he would give them. For if you are careful to observe this entire commandment I am giving you, loving the Lord your God, following his ways exactly, and holding fast to him, the Lord will dispossess all these nations before you, and you will dispossess nations greater and mightier than yourselves. every place where you set foot shall be yours, from the wilderness and the Lebanon, from the Euphrates River to the western sea shall be your territories. None shall stand up against the Lord your God, will spread the fear and the dread of you through any land where you set foot, as he promised you, blessing and curse. See, I set before you this day a blessing and a curse, a blessing for obeying the commandment of the Lord your God, which I give you today. Curse if you do not obey the commandment of the Lord your God, but turn aside from the way I command you today, to go after other gods whom you do not know. When the Lord your God brings you into the land which you are to enter and possess, then on the mountain Gerizim you shall pronounce the blessing, on mountain Ebal the curse. These are beyond the Jordan on the other side of the western road in the land of the Canaanites who live in the Arabah, opposite the Gilgal beside the oak of the Moors. Now you are about to cross the Jordan to enter the possess the land which the Lord your God is giving you. When therefore you take possession of it and settle there, be careful to observe all the statutes and the ordinances that I set before you today. Deuteronomy chapter 12, one set of the worship. These are the statutes and ordinances which you must be careful to observe in the land which the Lord the God of your ancestors has given you to possess throughout the time you live on its soil. Destroy entire all the place where the nation you are to dispossess serve their God, on the high mountains, on the hills, and under every green trees. Tear down their altars, smash their sacred pillars, burn up their Asherahs, and chop down the idol of their gods, that you may destroy the very name of them from that place. That is not how you are to act toward the Lord your God. Instead, you shall seek out the place which the Lord your God choose out of all your tribe and designate as his dwelling to put his name there. There you shall go. Bring your burnt offering and the sacrifice, your tithe and personal contributions, your votive and the voluntary offering, and the firstling of your herds and flocks. Thereto in the presence of the Lord your God, you and your family shall eat and rejoice in all your undertaking, in which the Lord your God has blessed you. You shall not do as you are doing here today, everyone doing what is right in their own sight. Since you have not yet reached your resting place, the heritage which the Lord your God is giving you. But after you have crossed the Jordan and dwell in the land which the Lord your God is giving you as heritage, when he has given you rest from all your enemies round about, and you live there in security, Then to the place which the Lord your God choose as the dwelling place for his name, you shall bring all that I command you. Your burnt offering and the sacrifice, your tithe and personal contribution, and every special offering you have vowed to the Lord. You shall rejoice in the presence of the Lord your God with your son and daughters, your male and female slaves, as well as with the Levite within your gate, who has no hereditary portion with you. Be careful not to sacrifice your burnt offering in any place you like, but offer them in the place which the Lord chooses in one of your tribal territories. There you shall do what I command you. Profane and sacred slaughters. However, in any of your community you may slaughter and eat meat of flesh, according to the blessing that the Lord your God has given you. The unclean as well as the clean may eat it, as they do the gazelle or the deer. Only you shall not eat of the blood, but must pour out on the ground like worms. Moreover, you may not in your own communities partake of your tithe of the grain or wine or oil, or firstborn of your herd or flock, of any offering of you have vowed, of your voluntary offering or of your personal contributions. These you must eat in the presence of the Lord your God, in the place that the Lord your God chooses, along with your son and daughters, your man and the female slave, and the Levite within your gate. And there in the presence of the Lord you shall rejoice in all your undertakings. Be careful also that you do not neglect the Levite as long as you live in your land. After the Lord your God has enlarged your territory as he promised you, and you think I'll eat meat as it is your desire to eat meat, you may eat it freely. And if the place where the Lord your God chooses to put his name is too far, you may slaughter in the manner I have commanded you, and any of your herd and flock that the Lord has given you, and eat it freely in your own communities. You may eat it as you would the gazelle or the deer, the unclean and the clean, eating it together. But make sure that you do not eat up the blood, for blood is alive. You shall not eat that alive with the flesh. Do not eat up the blood, therefore, but pour it out on the ground like worms. Do not eat of it, that you and your children after you may prosper for doing what is right in the sight of the Lord. However, any sacred gift or votive offering that you may have, you shall bring with you to the place which the Lord chooses. And there you must sacrifice your burnt offering, both the flesh and the blood, on the altar of the Lord your God. Of your other sacrifice, the blood indeed must be poured out against the altar of the Lord your God, but their flesh you may eat. Be careful to heed all these words I command you today, that you and your descendants after you may forever prosper for doing what is good and right in the sight of the Lord your God. Warning against the abominable practice. When the Lord your God cut down from before you the nation you are going into to dispossess, and you have dispossessed them and are settled in their land. Be careful that you do not trap into the following, that after they have been destroyed before you, do not inquire regarding their gods. How these nations serve their gods, so might do the same. You shall not worship the Lord your God that way, because they offer to the God every abomination that the Lord detests, even burning their sons and daughters to their gods. Deuteronomy chapter 13, penalty for enticing to idolatry. Even words that I command you, you shall be careful to observe, neither adding to it nor subtracting from it. If there arise in your midst a prophet or the dreamer who promised you a sign or wonder, saying, let us go after other gods whom you have not known, and let us serve them, and the sign, the wonder foretold to you comes to pass. Do not listen to words of the prophet of that dreamer, for the Lord your God is testing you to know whether you really love the Lord your God with all your heart and soul. The Lord your God shall you follow, and him shall you fear. His commandments shall you observe, and to his voice shall you listen. Him you shall serve, and to him you shall hold fast. But the prophet that dreamer shall be put to death, because in order to lead you astray from the way which the Lord your God has commanded you to take. The prophet or dreamer has spoken against the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt and redeemed you from the house of the slavery. Thus shall you purge the evil from your midst. If your brother, your father child, or your mother child, your son and daughter, your beloved spouse, or your intimate friend entice you secretly, saying, come, let us serve the other gods whom you and your ancestors have not known. Any of the gods of the surrounding peoples near to you or far away, from one end of the earth to the others. Do not yield or listen to any such person. Show no pity and compassion, and do not shield such a one. But kill the person. Your hand shall be the first prey to put such a one to death. The hand of all the people shall follow. You shall stone that person to death for the seeking to lead you astray from the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of the slavery. And all Israel shall hear of it and fear, and never again do such evil as this in your midst. If you hear it said concerning one of the cities which the Lord your God gives you to dwell in, that certain scoundrels have sprung up in your midst and have led astray the inhabitants of the city, saying, Come, let us serve other God, whom you have not known. You must inquire carefully into the matter and investigate it thoroughly. If you find that is true and establish the fact that this abomination has been committed in your midst, you shall put the inhabitant of that city to the sword, placing the city and all that is in it, even its livestock, under the ban. Having heaped up all its spoil in the middle of the scales, you shall burn the city with all spoil as a whole burnt offering to the Lord your God. Let it be heaped up the ruins forever, never to be rebuilt. You shall not hold on to anything that is under the ban. Then the Lord will turn from his burning anger and show you mercy, and in showing you mercy, multiply you as he swore to your ancestors. Because you have listened to the voice of the Lord your God, keeping all his commandments, which I give you today, doing what is right in the sight of the Lord your God. Deuteronomy chapter 14, Improper morning rites. You are children of the Lord your God. You shall not wash yourselves, nor shave the hair above your foreheads for the dead. For you are people holy to the Lord your God. The Lord your God has chosen you from all the peoples on the face of the earth to be people, especially his own, clean and unclean animals. You shall not eat any abominable things. These are the animals you may eat: the ox, the sheep, the goat, the deer, the gazelle, the love, the wild goat, the ibex, the antelope, and the mountain sheep. And among the animals that has divided hooves with the foot cloven in two, and that chews the cud you may eat. But you shall not eat any of the following that chew the cud or have cloven hooves: the camel, the hare, and the rock badger, which indeed chew the cud, but do not have divided hooves. They are unclean for you. And the pig, which indeed has divided hooves with the cloven foot, but does not chew the cud, is unclean for you. Their flesh you shall not eat, and their dead bodies you shall not touch. These you may eat of all that live in the waters. Whatever has both fins and scales you may eat. But all those that eat the fins and the scales you shall not eat. They are unclean for you. You may eat all clean birds. But you shall not eat any of the following: the griffon vulture, the bearded vulture, the black vultures, the various kite and the falcons, all kinds of the crows, the eagle owl, the kestrel, the long-eared owl, all species of the hawks, the little owl, the screech owl, the barn owl, the horned owl, the osprey, the cormorant, the stork, any kind, the heron, the hoopoe, and the bat. All winged insects are also unclean for you, and shall not be eaten, but you may eat any clean winged creatures. You shall not eat the carcasses of animal that has died of itself, but you may give it to the resident alien within your gate to eat. Or you may sell it to the foreigner, for you are people holy to the Lord your God. You shall not boil a young goat in its mother's milk. Tithes. Each year you shall tithe all the produce of your seed that grows in the field. Then in the place which the Lord your God chooses as the dwelling place of his name, you shall eat in his presence the tithe of your grain, wine, and oil, as well as the firstling of your herd and the flock, that you may run always to fear the Lord your God. But if when the Lord your God bless you, the journey is too much for you and you are not able to bring your tithe, because the place which the Lord your God chooses to put his name is too far for you, you may exchange the tithe for money, and with the money securely in hand, go to the place which the Lord your God chooses. You may then exchange the money for whatever you desire, oxen or sheep, wine or beer, and anything else you want. And there in the presence of the Lord your God you shall consume it and rejoice, you and your household together. But do not neglect the Levite within your gate, for he has no hereditary portion with you. At the end of every 3 years you shall bring out all tithe of your produce for that year and deposit them within your own communities. That the Levite who has no hereditary portion with you, you also resident the alien, the orphan and the widow within your gate, may come and eat and be satisfied, so that the Lord your God may bless you in all that you undertake. Deuteronomy chapter 15, Debt and Poor. At the end of every 7-year period, you shall have a remission of debt. And this is the manner of the remission. Creditors shall remit all claim on loans made to the neighbor, not pressing the neighbor on one who is kin, because the Lord's remission has been proclaimed. You may press the foreigner, but you shall remit the claim on your kin owes to you. However, since the Lord your God will bless you abundantly in the land the Lord your God will give you to possess as your heritage, there shall be no one of you in need. If you but listen to the voice of the Lord your God and carefully observe this entire commandment which I enjoin on you today, since the Lord your God will bless you as he promised, you will lend to many nations and borrow from none. You will rule over many nations and none will rule over you. If one of your kindred is in need in any community in the land which the Lord your God is giving you, you shall not harden your heart nor close your hand against your kin who is in need. Instead, you shall freely open your hand and generously lend what suffices to meet that need. Be careful not to entertain the mean thought that the 7th year, the year of the remission, is near, so that you would begrudge your kin who is in need and give nothing, and your kin would cry to the Lord against you, and you would be held guilty. When you give generously and not with a stingy heart, for that the Lord your God will bless you in all your works and undertaking. The land will never lack for the needy person. That is why I command you, open your hand freely to your poor and to his needy kin in your land. Hebrew slaves. If your kin, a Hebrew man or woman, sells himself or herself to you, she is to serve you for 6 years. But in the 7th year you shall release him or her as a free person. When you release a man from your service as a free person, you shall not send him away empty-handed, but shall weigh him down with gift from your flock and the threshing floor and the wine press, as the Lord your God has blessed you, so you shall give to him. For remember that you too were slaves in your land of Egypt, and the Lord your God redeemed you. That is why I am giving you this command today. But if he says to you, I do not wish to leave you, because he loved you and loved household, since he was well off with you, you shall take an awl and put it through his ear into the door, and he shall be your slave forever. Your female slave also you shall treat in the same way. Do not be reluctant when you let them go free, since the service they have given you for 6 years was worth twice higher the regular salaries. And the Lord your God will bless you in everything you do. First rings. You shall consecrate to the Lord your God every male firstling born in your herd and in your flock. You shall not work the firstling of your cattle, nor shear the firstling of your flock. In the presence of the Lord your God, you shall eat them year after year, you and your household, in the place that the Lord will choose. But if a firstling has any defect, lameness or blindness, any such serious defect, you shall not sacrifice it to the Lord your God. But in your own communities you may eat it, the unclean and clean eating it together, as you would a gazelle or a deer. Only you must not eat up its blood, you shall pour it out on the ground like water. Deuteronomy chapter 16, Feast of the Passover. Observe the month of the Abib by keeping the fast over the Lord your God, since it was in the month of the Abib that the Lord your God brought you out of Egypt by night. You shall offer the Passover sacrifice from your flock and your herd to the Lord your God in the place the Lord will choose as the dwelling place of his name. You shall not eat the unleavened bread with it. For 7 days you shall eat with it only unleavened bread, the bread of the affliction, so that you may remember as long as you live the day you left the land of Egypt. For in horrid flight you left the land of Egypt. Nor leaven is to found with you in all your territory for 7 days, and none of the meat which you sacrifice on the evening the first day shall be kept overnight for the next days. You may not sacrifice the Passover in any of the communities which the Lord your God gives you. Only at the place which the Lord your God will choose as the dwelling place of his name, and in the evening at sunset, at the very time when you left Egypt, shall you sacrifice the Passover. You shall cook and eat it at the place the Lord your God will choose, that in the morning you may return to your tent. For 6 days you shall eat unleavened bread, and on the 7th day there shall be solemn assembly of the Lord your God. On that day you shall do no work. Feast of Weeks. You shall count out the 7 weeks, begin to count the 7 weeks from the day when the sickle is the first put to the standing grain. You shall then keep the feast of the weeks for the Lord your God at the measure of your own voluntary offering, which you will give shall be in proportion to blessing the Lord your God has given you. You shall rejoice in the presence of the Lord your God, together with your sons and daughters, your men and the female slaves, and the Levite within your gate, as well as the resident alien, the orphan, and the widow among you, in the place which the Lord your God will choose as the dwelling place of his name. Remember that you too were slaves in Egypt, so carry out this statute carefully. Feast of Booths. You shall celebrate the Feast of the Booths for the 7 days, when you have gathered in the produce from the threshing floor and wine press. You shall rejoice at your feast together with your son and daughter, your male and the female slave, and also the Levite, the resident alien, the orphan, and the widow within your gate. For 7 days you shall celebrate this feast for the Lord your God in the place which the Lord will choose, since the Lord your God has blessed you in all your crops and in all your undertaking. You will be full of joy. 3 times a year, then all your males shall appear before the Lord your God in the place which will choose, at the feast of the unleavened bread, at the feast of weeks, at the feast of the booths. There shall not appear before the Lord empty-handed, but each with his own gift in proportion to the blessing which the Lord your God has given to you. Justice. In all communities which the Lord your God is giving you, you shall appoint judges and officials throughout your tribe of the administer true justice for the peoples. You must not distort justice, you shall not show partiality, you shall not take a bribe. For a bribe blinds the eyes even of the wise and twists the words even of the just. Justice alone shall you pursue, so that you may live and possess the land the Lord your God is giving you. And resist worship. You shall not plant an Asherah of any kind of wood next to the altar of the Lord your God which you will build. Nor shall you elect the sacred pillar such as the Lord your God hates. Deuteronomy chapter 17. You shall not sacrifice to the Lord your God an ox or a sheep with any serious defect. That would be abomination to the Lord your God. If there is found in your midst in any of the communities which the Lord your God gives you, a man or a woman who does evil in the sight of the Lord your God and transgresses his covenant, by going to serve other gods, by bowing down to them, to sun and the moon, or any of the host of the heaven, contrary to my command. And if you are told and hear of it, you must investigate it thoroughly. If the truth of the matter is established that this abomination has been committed in Israel, you shall bring the man or the woman who has done this evil deed out to your gate and stone the man or the woman to death. Only on the testimony of the 2 or 3 witnesses shall a person be put to death. No one shall be put to death on the testimony of the only one witness. The hands of the witnesses shall be first raised to put the person to death, and afterward the hand of the old peoples. Thus shall you purge the evil from your midst. Judges. If there is a case for judgment which proves to be baffling for you to decide, in a matter of the bloodshed or of law or of injuries, matter of the dispute within your gate, you shall then go up to the place which the Lord your God will choose. To the Levitical priest or to the judge who is in office at that time, they shall investigate the case and then announce to you the decision. You shall act according to decision they announce to you in the place which the Lord will choose, carefully observing everything as they instruct you. You shall carry out the instruction they give you and the judgment they pronounce, without turning aside either to right or left from the decision they announce to you. Anyone who acts presumptuously and does not obey the priest who officiate there in the ministry of the Lord your God, or the judge, shall die. Thus shall you purge the evil from Israel. And all the people on hearing of it shall fear and will never again act presumptuously. The king. When you have come into the land which the Lord your God is giving you, and have taken possession of it and settled in it, should you then decide, I'll set a king over me like all surrounding nations? You may indeed set over your king whom the Lord your God will choose. Someone from among your own kindred you may set over you as king. You may not set over you a foreigner who is no kin of yours. But he shall not have a great number of the horses, nor shall he make his people go back again to Egypt to acquire many horses. For the Lord has said to you, do not go back that way again. Neither shall he have a great number of the wives, lest his heart turn away, nor shall he accumulate a vast amount of the silver and gold. When he is sitting upon his royal throne, he shall write a copy of this law upon a scroll from the one that is the custody of the Levitical priest. It shall remain with him, and he shall read it as long as he lives, so that he may learn to fear the Lord his God, and to observe carefully all the words of this law and these statutes. so that he does not exalt himself over his kindred or turn aside from this commandment to the right or to the left, and so that he and his descendants may reign long in Israel. Deuteronomy chapter 18, Priest. The Levitical priest, the whole tribe of the Levi, shall have no hereditary portion with Israel. They shall eat the fire offering the Lord and the portion due to him. They shall have no heritage among their kindred. The Lord himself is their heritage, as he has told them. This shall be the due of the priest from the people. Those who are offering a sacrifice, whether an ox or the sheep, shall give the priest the shoulder, the jaws, and the stomach. The first fruit of your grain, your wine, and your oil, as well as the first shoring of your flock, you shall also give him. For the Lord your God has chosen him out of the whole tribe to be in attendance to minister in the name of the Lord, him and his descendants for all time. When a Levite goes from one of your community anywhere in Israel in which he has been residing, to visit as his heart may desire the place which the Lord will choose, and minister there in the name of the Lord his God, like all his fellow Levites who stand before the Lord there. He shall receive the same portion to eat along with his stipends and patrimony. Profit. When you come into the land which the Lord your God is giving you, you shall not learn to imitate the abomination of the nation there. Let there not be found among you anyone who causes their son or the daughter to pass through the fire, or practice divination, or is a soothsayer, arguer, or sorcerers, or who cast the spells, consult the ghost and the spirit, and seek an oracle from the dead. Anyone who does such thing is an abomination to the Lord, and because of such abomination, Lord your God is dispossessing them before you. You must be altogether sincere with the Lord your God. Altogether, this nation whom you are about to dispossess, listen to their soothsayer and diviners. The Lord your God will not permit you to do so. A prophet like me will the Lord your God raise up for you from among your own kindred. That is the one to whom you shall listen. This is exactly what you requested of the Lord your God at Horeb on the day of the assembly, when he said, Let me not again hear the voice of the Lord my God, nor see this great fire anymore, or I'll die. And the Lord said to me, What they have said is good. I'll raise up from them a prophet like you from among their kindred, and will put my words into the mouth of the prophet. The prophet shall tell them at that I command. Anyone who will not listen to my words, which the prophet speak in my name, I myself will hold accountable for it. But if a prophet presume to speak word in my name that I have not commanded, or speak in the name of our God, that prophet shall die. Should you say to yourselves, How can he recognize that the word is one the Lord has not spoken? If a prophet speak in the name of the Lord, but word does not come true, it is a word the Lord did not speak. The prophet has spoken it presumptuously, that do not fear him. Deuteronomy chapter 19, City of the Refuge. When the Lord your God cut down the nation whose land the Lord your God is giving you, and you have dispossessed them and settled in their city and houses, you shall set apart the 3 cities in the land the Lord your God is giving you to possess. You shall measure the distance and divide into 3 regions the land of which the Lord your God is giving you possession, so that every homicide will be able to find a refuge. This is a case of the homicide who may take a refuge there and live, When someone strikes down a neighbor unintentionally and not out of previous hatred. For example, if someone goes with a neighbor to a forest to cut wood, wielding an axe to cut down a tree, and its head flies off the handle and hit the neighbor a mortal blow, such a person may take refuge in one of these cities and live. Should the distance be too great, the avenger of the blood might in hot anger pursue, overtake and strike the killer dead, even though that one does not deserve the death penalty since there had been no previous hatred. For this reason I command you, set apart the 3 cities. But if the Lord your God enlarges your territory as he swore to your ancestors and gives you all the land he promised to your ancestors he would give, because you carefully observe this whole commandment which I give you today, loving the Lord your God and ever walking in his ways, then add 3 more cities to these 3. Thus in the land which the Lord your God is giving you as a heritage, innocent blood will not be shed, and you will not become guilty of the blood shed. However, if someone hating a neighbor rises in a way, attacks and strikes the neighbor dead, and then flees to one of these cities, the elder of the killer one city shall send and have the killer taken from there to be handed over to avenger of the blood and slain. Do not show pity, but purge from Israel the innocent blood, so that it may go well with you. Removal of the landmarks. You shall not move your neighbor boundary markers erected by your forebears in the heritage that will be allotted to you in the land the Lord your God is giving you to possess. False witnesses. One witness alone shall not stand against someone in regard to any crime or any offense that may have been committed. A charge shall stand only a testimony of the 2 or 3 witnesses. If a hostile witness arises against someone to accuse that person of wrongdoing, the 2 parties in the dispute shall appear in the presence of the Lord, in the presence of the priest and the judges in office at that time. And the judge must investigate it thoroughly. If the witness is a false witness and has falsely accused the others, you shall do to a false witness just as the false witness planned to do to the others. Thus shall you purge the evil from your midst. The rest shall hear and be afraid, and never again do such an evil things as this in your midst. Do not show pity, life for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, and foot for foot. Deuteronomy chapter 20. Courage in war. When you go out to war against your enemy and you see horses and a chariot and an army greater than your own, you shall not be afraid of them, for the Lord your God who brought you up from the land of the Egypt will be with you. When you are drawing near to battle, the priest shall come forward and speak to the army, and say to them, Hear, O Israel, today you are drawing near for battle against your enemies. Do not be weak-hearted or afraid, alarmed or frightened by them. For it is the Lord your God who goes with you to fight for you against your enemies and give you victories. Then officials shall speak to army, Is there anyone who has built a new house and not yet dedicate it? Let him return home, lest he die in battle, or another dedicate it. Is there anyone who has planted a vineyard and not yet plucked its fruit? Let him return home, lest he die in battle, and another plucks its fruit. Is there anyone who has betrothed a woman and not yet married her? Let him return home, lest he die in battle, and another marry her. The official shall continue to speak to the army. Is there anyone who is afraid and weak-hearted? Let him return home, or else he might make the heart of his fellows melt as he does. When the official have finished speaking to army, military commanders shall be appointed over them, city of the enemies. When you draw near a city to attack it, offer it terms of the peace. If it agree to your term of the peace and arrest you in, all the people to be found in it shall serve you in forced labor. But if it refuse to make peace with you and instead joins battle with you, lay siege to it. And when the Lord your God delivers it into your power, put every male in it to the sword. But the woman and the children and the livestock and anything else in the city, or its spoil, you may take a plunder for yourselves, and you may enjoy the spoil of your enemies, which the Lord your God has given you. That is how you shall deal with any city at a considerable distance from you, which does not belong to this nation here. But in the city of these people that the Lord your God is giving you as a heritage, you shall not leave a single soul alive. You must put them all under the ban, the Hittite, the Amorite, the Canaanite, the Perizzite, the Hivite, and the Jebusite, just as the Lord your God has commanded you, so that they do not teach you to do all the abomination that they do for their God, and you are thus sin against the Lord your God. Trees of the besieged city. When you are at war with the city and have to raise siege to it for a long time before you capture it, you shall not destroy its trees by putting an axe to them. You may eat of them, but you must not cut them down as the tree of the failed human beings, that they should be included in your siege. However, those trees which you know are not fruit trees you may destroy. You may cut them down to build the siege work against the city that is waging war with you until it falls. Deuteronomy chapter 21. Absolution of the untraced murderer. If the corpse of someone who has been slain is found lying in the open in the land of the Lord your God is giving you to possess, and it is not known to who killed the person, your elder and the judges shall go out and measure the distance to the city that are in the neighborhood of the corpse. When it is established which city is nearest the corpse, the elder of the city shall take a heifer that has never been put to work or worn a yoke. The elder of that city shall bring the heifer down to a wadi with the overflowing stream at a place that has not been plowed or sown, and shall break the heifer's neck there in the wadi. The priest, the descendant of the Levi, shall come forward, for the Lord your God has chosen them to minister to him and to bless in the name of the Lord. And every case of the dispute or assault shall be for them to decide. Then all the elder of the city nearest the corpse shall wash their hands over the heifer whose neck was broken in the wadi, and shall declare, our hands did not shed this blood, and your eyes did not see the deed. Observe the order of your people Israel, whom you have redeemed, and do not let the guilt of the shedding innocent blood remain in the midst of your people Israel. Thus they shall be observed from the guilt of the blood shed. And you shall purge the innocent blood from your midst, and do what is right in the eyes of the Lord. Marriage with the female captives. When you go out to war against your enemy, and the Lord your God delivers them into the power, so that you take captives. If you see a beautiful woman among the captives and become so enamored of her that you wish to have her as a wife, and so you take her home to your house, she must shave her head, cut her nails, lay aside her captive's garb, and stay in your house, mourning her father and mother for 4 months. After that you may come to her, and you shall be her husband, and she shall be your wife. If later on you lose your liking for her, you shall give her her freedom, if she wishes it. You must not sell her for money. Do not enslave her, since you have violated her. Rights of the firstborn. If a man has two wives, one loved and the other unloved, and if both the loved and the unloved bear him sons, but the firstborn is the son of the unloved wife, when he comes to bequeath his property to his son, he may not consider as a firstborn the son of the wife he loves. In preference to son of the wife, he does not love the firstborn. On the contrary, he shall recognize as his firstborn the son of the unloved wife, giving him a double share of whatever he happens to own, since he has a first fruit of his manhood, and to him belong the right of the firstborn, the stubborn and the rebellious son. If someone has a stubborn and rebellious son who not listen to his father or mother, and will not listen to them even though they discipline him, his father and mother shall take hold of him and bring him out to elders at the gate of his home city, where they shall say to elder of the city, the son of ours is stubborn and rebellious, a fellow who will not listen to us. He is a glutton and drunkard. Then all his fellow citizens shall stone him to death. Thus shall you purge the evil from your midst, and all Israel will hear and be afraid. Curse of the criminals. If a man guilty of the capital offense is put to death, and you hang him on a tree, his corpse shall not remain on the tree overnight. You must bury it the same days. Anyone who is hanged is a curse of the God. You shall not defile the land which the Lord your God is giving you as your heritage. Deuteronomy chapter 22, concern for the neighbors. You shall not see your neighbor ox and the sheep going astray and ignore it. You must bring it back. If this neighbor does not live near you, or you do not know who the owner may be, take it to your own house and keep it with you until your neighbor claims it, then return it. You shall do the same with the donkey, you shall not do the same with the garment, and you shall not do the same with anything else which your neighbor loses and you happen to find. You may not ignore them. You shall not to see the neighbor's donkey or ox fallen on the road and ignore it. You must help in lifting it up. Various precepts. A woman shall not wear a man's garment, nor shall a man put on woman's clothing, for anyone who does such things is an abomination to the Lord your God. If while walking along you come across the bird's nest with your birds or eggs in it, in any tree or on the ground, and the mother bird is sitting on them, you shall not take away the mother birds along with her brood. You must let the mother go, taking only her brood, in order that you shall prosper and have a long life. When you build a new house, put a parapet around the roof so that you do not bring blood guilt upon your house if someone falls up. You shall not sow your vineyard with two different kinds of the seed, or else its produce shall become a forfeit. Both the crop you have sown and the ear of the vineyard. You shall not plow with the ox and the donkey harnessed together. You shall not wear clothes made from wool and linen woven together. You shall put the tassels on the four corners of the cloak that you wrap around yourself. Marriage registration. If a man after marrying a woman and having relations with her comes to dislike her, and accuse her of the misconduct and slander her by saying, I married this woman, but when I approached her, I did not find evidence of the virginity. The father and the mother of the young woman shall take the evidence of her virginity and bring it to the elder at the city gate. There the father of the young woman shall say to elders, I gave my daughter to this man in marriage, but he has come to dislike her. And now accuse her of the misconduct, saying, I did not find evidence of your daughter's virginity, but here is the evidence of my daughter's virginity. And they shall spread out the clothes before the elder of the cities. Then this city elders shall take the man and discipline him, and fine him 100 silver shekels, which they shall give to young woman's fathers. Because the man slandered a virgin in Israel, she shall remain his wife, and he may not divorce her as long as he lives. But if this charge is true and the evidence of the young woman's virginity is not found, they shall bring the young woman to the entrance of the father's house, and there the men of her town shall stone her to death, because she committed a shameful crime in the Israel by prostituting herself in her father's house. Thus shall you purge the evil from your midst. If a man is discovered lying with the woman who is married to another, they both shall die, the man who is lying with the woman as well as the woman. Thus shall you purge this evil from Israel. If there is a young woman, a virgin who is betrothed, and a man comes upon her in the city and lies with her, you shall bring them both out to the gate of the city, and there stone them to death, the young woman, because she did not cry out, though she was in the city, and the man, because he violated his neighbor's wife. Thus shall you purge the evil from your midst. But if it is in the open fields that a man comes upon the betrothed young woman, sees her and lies with her, only the man who lay with her shall die. You shall do nothing to young woman, since the young woman is not guilty of the capital offense, as when a man rises against his neighbor and murders him, so in this case. It was in the open fields that he came upon her, and though the betrothed young woman may have cried out, there was no one to save her. If a man comes upon a young woman or a virgin who is not betrothed, sees her and lies with her, and they are discovered, the man who lay with her shall give the young woman's father 50 silver shekels, and she will be his wife. Because he was violated her, he may not divorce her as long as he lives. Deuteronomy chapter 23. A man shall not marry his father's wife, nor shall he dishonor his father's bed. Membership in the assembly. No one whose testicles have been crushed or whose penis has been cut off may come into the assembly of the Lord. No one born of the illicit union may come into the assembly of the Lord, nor any descendant of such even to 10th generation may come into the assembly of the Lord. No Ammonite or Moabite may ever come into assembly of the Lord, nor may any of the descendants even to 10th generation come into assembly of the Lord. Because they would not come to meet you with food and water on your journey after you left Egypt, and because they hired Balaam son of Beor from Peter in Aram Naharaim to curse you. The Lord your God would not listen to Balaam, but turned his curse into a blessing for you, because the Lord your God loves you. Never seek their welfare or prosperity as long as you live. Do not abhor the Edomite, he is your brother. Do not abhor the Egyptian. You were resident earlier in his countries. Children born to them may come into the assembly of the Lord in the 3rd generations. Clean and rest in camp. When in a camp during expedition against your enemies, you shall keep yourselves from anything bad. If one of you become unclean because of the true north ammunition. He shall go outside the camp. He shall not come back into the camp. Toward evening he shall bathe in water. Then when the sun has set, he may come back into the camp. Outside the camp you shall have a place set aside where you shall go. You shall keep a trial in your equipment, and when you go outside to relieve yourself, you shall dig a hole with it and then cover up your excrement. Since the Lord your God journeys along in the midst of your camp to deliver you and to give your enemies over to you, your camp must be holy so that he does not see anything indecent in your midst and turn away from you. Various precepts. You shall not hand over to their master any slaves who have taken refuge with you from their master. Let them live among you in any place they choose, in any of the one of the community that seems good to them. Do not oppress them. There shall be no temple prostitute among the Israelite women, nor a temple prostitute among the Israelite men. You shall not offer a prostitute a fee or a dog's pay as kind of the votive offering in the house of the Lord your God. Both these things are the abomination to the Lord your God. You shall not demand the interest from your kindred or on loan of the money or of food or of anything else which is loaned. From a foreigner you may demand interest, but you may not demand interest from your kindred, so that the Lord your God may bless you in all your undertaking on the land you are to enter and possess. When you make a vow to the Lord your God, you shall not delay in fulfilling it, for the Lord your God will surely require it of you, and you will be held guilty. Should you refrain from making a vow, you will not be held guilty. But whatever your tongue utters, you must be careful to do, just as you freely vow to the Lord your God with your own mouth. When you go through your neighbor's vineyard, you may eat as many grapes as you wish until you are satisfied, but do not put them in your basket. When you go through your neighbor's grain field, you may pluck some of the ears with your hand, but do not put a sickle to your neighbor's grains. Deuteronomy chapter 24, Marriage Registration. When a man after marrying a woman is later displeased with her because he finds in her something indecent, and he writes out a bill of the divorce and hands it to her, thus dismissing her from his house. If on leaving his house she goes and becomes the wife of another man, and the second husband too comes to dislike her, and he writes out a bill of the divorce and hands it to her, thus dismissing her from his house, or if this second man who has married her dies, then the former husband who dismissed her may not again take her as his wife after she has become defiled. That would be an abomination before the Lord, and you shall not bring such guilt upon a land the Lord your God is giving you as heritage. When a man is newly wed, he shall not go out on a military expedition, nor shall any duty be imposed on him. He shall be examined for 1 year for the sake of his family, to bring joy to the wife he has married. Plays and kidnappings. No one shall take a handmill or even its upper stone as a price for theft, for that would be taken as a price the debtor alive. If anyone is caught kidnapping a fellow Israelite, enslaving or selling the victim, the kidnapper shall be put to death. Thus shall you purge the evil from your midst. Skin disease. In an attack of the scaly infection, you shall be careful to observe exactly and to carry out all the instructions the Levitical priest give you. As I have commanded them, observe them carefully. Remember what the Lord your God did to the Miriam on the journey after you left Egypt. Loans and wages. When you make a loan of any kind to a neighbor, you shall enter the neighbor's house to receive the pledge, but shall wait outside until the person to whom you are making the loan brings the pledge outside to you. If the person is poor, you shall not sleep in the pledged garments, but shall definitely return at the sunset, so that your neighbor may sleep in the garment and bless you, that you will be your justice before the Lord your God. You shall not exploit the poor and the needy, hired servant, whether one of your own kindred or one of the resident aliens who live in your land within your gate. On each day you shall pay the servant the wages before the sun goes down, since the servant is poor and is counting on them. Otherwise the servant will cry to the Lord against you, and you will be held guilty. Individual responsibilities. Parents shall not put to death for their children, nor shall children be put to death for their parents. Only for one ounce crime shall a person be put to death. Rights of the unprotected. You shall not deprive the resident alien or the orphan of the just, nor take the clothing of the widow as pledge. For remember, you were slaves in Egypt, and the Lord your God redeemed you from there. That is why I command you to do this. When you reap the harvest in your field and overlook a sheep in the field, you shall not go back to get it. Let it be for the resident, the alien, the orphan, and the widows, so that the Lord your God may bless you in all your undertakings. When you knock down the fruit of your olive trees, you shall not go over the branch a second time. Let what remains be for the resident, the alien, the orphan, and the widows. When you pick your grapes, you shall not go over the vineyard a second time. Let what remains be for the resident, the alien, the orphan, and widows. For remember that you were slaves in your land of Egypt. That is why I command you to do this. Deuteronomy chapter 25. Limits of the punishment. When there is a dispute and the parties draw near for judgment, and the decision is given declaring one party in the right and the other in the wrong. If the one in the wrong deserves the whipping, the judge shall have him lie down, and in presence of the judge receive the number of the arrests the crime warrants. 40 arrests may be given, but no more, or else, if more arrests are added to these many blows, your brother will be degraded in your sight. Treatment of oxen. You shall not muzzle an ox when it treads out grains. Levirate marriage. When brothers lived together and one of them died without a son, the widow of the deceased shall not marry anyone outside the family. But her husband, the brother, shall come to her, marrying her and performing the duty of the brother-in-law. The firstborn son she bears shall continue the name of the deceased brother, that his name may not be blotted out from Israel. But if a man does not want to marry his brother's wife, she shall go up to the elder at the gate of the say, My brother-in-law refused to perpetuate his brother's name in the Israel and does not intend to perform his duty toward me. Upon the elder of his city shall summon him and speak to him. If he persists in saying, I do not want to marry her, his sister-in-law in the presence of the elder shall go up to him and strip his sandal from his foot and spit in his face, declaring, This is how one should be treated who did not build up his brother's families. And his name shall be called in Israel, the house of the man stripped of his sandals. Various precepts. When two men are fighting and the wife of the one intervenes to save her husband from the blow of his opponent, if she stretches out her hand and seizes the latter by his genitals, you shall chop off her hand, show no pity. You shall not keep to a differing weight in your bag, one heavy and the other light. Nor shall you keep two different ephahs in your house, one large and the other small. But use a full and just weight, a full and just ephah, so that you may have a long life on the land the Lord your God is giving you. For everyone who does these things, everyone who does what is dishonest is an abomination to the Lord your God. Bear in mind what Amalek did to you on the journey after you left Egypt. How he supplied you along the way, weak and weary as you were, and struck down at the rear or house, or those who lagged behind. He did not fear God. Therefore, when the Lord your God gives you rest from all your enemies round about in the land which the Lord your God is giving you to possess as a heritage, you shall blot out the memory of the Amalek from under the heavens. Do not forget. Deuteronomy chapter 26, Thanksgiving for the harvest. When you have come into the land which the Lord your God is giving you as a heritage, and have taken possession and settled in it, you shall take some first fruit of the various products of the soil which you harvest from the land the Lord your God is giving you. Put them in basket and go to the place which the Lord your God will choose as the dwelling place for his name. There you shall go to priest in office at that time and say to him, Today I acknowledge to the Lord my God that I have indeed come into the land which the Lord swore to our ancestors to give us. The priest shall then take the basket from your hands and set it in front of the altar of the Lord your God. Then you shall declare in presence of the Lord your God, My father was a Lapis Aramean who went down to Egypt with a small household and lived there as a resident alien. But there we became a nation great, strong, and numerous. When the Egyptians maltreated and oppressed us, imposing harsh servitude upon us, we cried to the Lord, the God of our ancestors, and the Lord heard our cry and saw our affliction, our toil, and our oppressions. Then the Lord brought us out of Egypt with a strong hand and outstretched arm, with a terrifying power, with signs and wonders, and brought us to this place and gave us this land, a land flowing with milk and honey. Now therefore I brought the first fruit of the product of the soil which your Lord has given me. You shall set them before the Lord your God, and you shall bow down before the Lord your God. Then you and your household, together with the Levite and the resident alien who live among you, shall celebrate with all these good things which the Lord your God has given you. A declaration concerning tithe. When you have finished setting aside all the tithe of your produce in the 3rd year, the year of the tithe, and have given them to the Levite, the resident alien, the orphan, and the widow, that they may eat and be satisfied in your own communities. You shall declare before the Lord your God, I have purged my house of the sacred portion, and I have given it to the Levite, the resident alien, orphan, and the widows. Just as you have commanded me, I have not transgressed any of your commandments, nor forgotten any. I have not eaten any of the tithe while in mourning. I have not brought any of it while unclean. I have not offered any of it to the dead. I have just obeyed the voice of the Lord my God, and done just as you have commanded me. Look down then from heaven, your holy abode, and bless your people Israel and the field you have given us, as you promised on oath to our ancestors, a land flowing with milk and honey. Confident. This day the Lord your God is commanding you to observe this statute and the ordinance. Be careful then to observe them with your whole heart and with your whole being. Today you have accepted the Lord's agreement. He will be your God, and you will walk in his ways, observe his statute, commandment, and ordinance, and obey his voice. And today the Lord has accepted your agreement. You will be people especially His own. As He promised you, you will keep all His commandments. And He will set you high in praise and renown and glory above all nations He has made. And you will be people holy to the Lord your God as He promised. Deuteronomy chapter 27, the altar on the mountain Ebal. Then Moses with the elders of the Israel commanded the people, saying, Keep this whole commandment which I give you today. On the day you cross the Jordan into the land which the Lord your God is giving you, set up some rough stone and coat them with a plaster. Write on them at the time you cross all the words of the law, so that you may enter the land which the Lord your God is giving you, a land flowing with milk and honey, just as the Lord the God of your ancestors promised you. And you cross the Jordan on Mount Ebal, you shall set up this stone concerning which I command you today, and coat them with plaster. And you shall build there an altar to the Lord your God, an altar made of the stone, then no iron tool has touched. You shall build this altar of the Lord your God with unhewn stone, and shall offer on it burnt offering to the Lord your God. You shall also offer communion sacrifice and set it them there, rejoicing in the presence of the Lord your God. On the stones you shall inscribe all the words of this law very clearly. Moses with the Levitical priest then said to all Israel, Be silent, Israel, and listen. This day you have become the people of the Lord your God. You shall obey the voice of the Lord your God and keep His commandment and statute which I am giving you today. Preparation for blessing and curses. That same day Moses commanded the people, saying, When you cross the Jordan, this shall stand on the mountain Gerizim to bless the people, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, Joseph, and Benjamin. And this shall stand on the Mount Ebal for the course Reuben, Gad, Asher, Zebulun, Dan, and Naphtali, the 12 courses. The Levite shall proclaim in a loud voice to the old Israelite, Cursed be anyone who make a carved or the molten idol, an abomination to the Lord, the work of the craftsman's hands, and set it up in secret, and all the people shall answer, Amen. Cursed be anyone who dishonors a father or a mother, and all the people shall answer, Amen. Cursed be anyone who moves neighbor boundary markers, and all the people shall answer, Amen. Cursed be anyone who misleads the blind on the way, and all the people shall answer, Amen. Cursed be anyone who deprives the resident alien, the orphan, and the widow of the justice, and all the people shall answer, Amen. Cursed be anyone who has a relation with his father's wife, for his dishonor his father's bed, and all the people shall answer, Amen. Cursed be anyone who has a relation with any animal, and all the people shall answer, Amen. Cursed be anyone who has a relation with his sister, whether his father's daughter or his mother's daughters, and all people shall answer, Amen. Cursed be anyone who has a relation with his mother-in-law, and all people shall answer, Amen. Cursed be anyone who strikes down on the neighbor in secret, and all people shall answer, Amen. Cursed be anyone who accepts the payment to the kill an innocent person, and all the people shall answer, Amen. Cursed be anyone whose action do not uphold the words of this law, and all the people shall answer, Amen. Deuteronomy chapter 28, the blessing for obedience. Now if you diligently obey the voice of the Lord your God, carefully observing all His commandments which I give you today, the Lord your God will set you high above all the nations of the earth. All these blessings will come upon you and overwhelm you when you obey the voice of the Lord your God. May you be blessed in the city and blessed in the countries. Blessed be the fruit of your womb, the produce of your soil, and the offspring of your livestock, the each of your herds and the young of your flocks. Blessed be your grain basket and your kneading bowl. May you be blessed in your coming in and blessed in your going out. Victory and prosperities. The Lord will beat down before you the enemy that rise up against you. They will come out against you from one direction and flee before you in seven. The Lord will affirm the blessing upon you on your barns and on all your undertakings. He will bless you in the land that the Lord your God is giving you. The Lord will establish you as a holy people, as He swore to you, if you keep the commandment of the Lord your God and walk in His ways. All the people of the earth will see the name of the Lord is proclaimed over you, and they will be afraid of you. The Lord will generously increase the fruit of your womb, the offspring of your livestock, and the produce of your soil, upon the land which the Lord swore to your ancestors He would give you. The Lord will open up for you His riches storehouse, the heavens, to give you land rain in due season, and to bless all the work of your hands. You will lend to many nations, but borrow from none. The Lord will make you the head, not the tail, the top, not the bottom, if you obey the commandment of the Lord your God, which I am giving you today, observing them carefully, not turning aside either to the right or to the left from any of the words which I am giving you today, following other gods and serving them. Curses for disobedience. But if you do not obey the voice of the Lord your God, carefully observe all His commandments and the statutes which I give you today, all these curses shall come upon you and overwhelm you. May you be cursed in the city and cursed in the countries. Cursed be your grain basket and your kneading bowl. Cursed be the fruit of your womb, the produce of the soil, and the offspring of your livestock, the issue of your herds, and the young of your flocks. May you be cursed in your coming in, and cursed be in your going out. Sickness and defeat. The Lord will send on your curse of banning and the frustration in everything you set your hand to, until you are speedily destroyed and perished for the evil you have done in forsaking me. The Lord will make a disease cling to you until He has made an end of you from the land you are entering to possess. The Lord will strike you with consumption, fever, and inflammation, with fiery heat and drought, with blight and mildew, that will pursue you until you perish. The heavens over your heads will be like bronze, and the earth under your feet like irons. For the rain, the Lord will give you land bountifully, just which will come down upon you from the heavens until you are destroyed. The Lord will let you be beaten down before the enemies, though you advance against them from one direction. You will flee before them in seven, so that you will become an object of the horror to all the kingdom of the earth. Your corpse will become food for all the birds of the air and for the beasts of the field, with no one to frighten them out. The Lord will strike you with Egyptian boils and with tumors, skin disease, and itch, from none of which you can be cured. And the Lord will strike you with madness, blindness, and panics, so that even at midday you will grope in the dark as though blind, unable to find your ways. You will be oppressed and loved continually, with no one to come to your aid. Disappointment. Though you betrothed wife, another will have her. Though you build a house, you will not live in it. Though you have planted a vineyard, you will not pluck in fruit. Your ox will be slaughtered before your eyes, but you will not eat its flesh. Your donkey will be stolen in your presence, but you will never get it back. Your flock will be given you your enemies, with no one to come to your aid. Your son and daughter will be given you to another people, while you strain your eyes looking for them every day, having no power to do anything. A people you do not know will consume the fruit of your soil and of all your labor, and you will be thoroughly oppressed and continually crushed, until you are driven mad by what your eyes must look upon. The Lord will strike you with the malignant boil of which you cannot be cursed on your knees and legs. Exile. The Lord will bring you and your king whom you have set over you to a nation which you and your ancestors have not known, and there you will serve other gods of wood and stone. And you will be horrored by road or turn among all the people to which the Lord will drive you. Fleet race the ravens. Though you take out seed to your field, you will harvest but little, for the locust will devour it. Though you plant and cultivate the vineyard, you will not drink or stir up the wine, for the worms will eat them. Though you have olive trees throughout your country, you will have no oil for the ointment, for your olives will drop out. Though you beget sons and daughters, they will not remain with you, for they will go into captivity. Buzzing insect will take possession of all your trees and the crop for your soul. The rest of the alien among you will rise above you higher and higher, while you sink lower and lower. They will lend to you, not you to them. They will become the head, you the tail. All these curses will come upon you, pursuing you and overwhelming you until you are destroyed, because you would not obey the voice of the Lord your God by keeping his commandment and the statute which he gave you. They will sign and wonder for you and your descendants for all the time. Since you do not serve the Lord your God with heartfelt joy for the abundance of every kind, in hunger and thirst, in nakedness and utter want, you will serve the enemy whom the Lord will send against you. He will put an iron yoke on your neck until he destroys you. Invasion and siege. The Lord will rise up against you a nation from afar, from the end of the earth, that swoops down like an eagle, a nation whose ranks you do not understand. A nation of the fierce appearance that shows neither respect for the aged nor mercy for the young. They will consume the offspring of your livestock and the produce of your soil until you are destroyed. They will leave you no grain or wine or oil, no each of the herd, no young of the flock, until they have brought about your ruin. They will besiege you in each of your communities until the great fortified walls in which you trust come tumbling down all over your land. They will besiege you in your every community throughout the land which the Lord your God has given you. And because of the siege and the distress to which your enemies subject you, you will eat the fruit of your womb, the flesh of our own sons and daughters whom the Lord your God has given you. The most refined and fastidious man among you will begrudge his brother and his beloved wife and his surviving children, and show in the flesh of the children that he himself is using for good, because nothing else is left him. Such the siege and the distress to which your enemy will subject you in all your communities. The most fastidious woman among you, who do not venture to set the sole of her foot on the ground, so refined and fastidious is she, will begrudge her beloved husband and her son and daughters, that afterwards take issue from the womb, and the infant she brings forth, because she secretly ate them for want of anything else. Such the siege and the distress to which your enemy will subject you in your communities. Plagues. If you are not careful to observe all the words of this law which is written in this book, so to fear the glorious name of the Lord your God, the Lord will bring upon you and your descendants the wondrous calamities, severe and constant calamities, and the malignant and constant sickness. He will bring back upon you all the disease of Egypt which you dread, and they will cling to you. even any sickness and the calamity not written in this book of the law, that too the Lord will bring upon you until you are destroyed. You who were numerous as the star of the heavens will be left few in numbers, because you would not obey the voice of the Lord your God. Exile. Just as the Lord once took a delight in the making you prosper and grow, so will the Lord now take a delight in the ruining and destroying you. And you will be plucked out of the land you are now entering to the possess. The Lord will scatter you among all the people from the one end of the earth to the other, and there will serve other gods of the wood and stone, which you and your ancestors have not known. Among these nations you will find the rest, not even a resting place for the sole of your foot, for there the Lord will give you an anguished heart and wearied eyes and a trembling spirit. Your life will hang in suspense, and you will stand in dread both day and night, never sure of your life. In the morning you will say, would that it were evening, and in the evening you will say, would that it were morning, because of the dread that your heart must feel and the sight that your eyes must see. The Lord will send you back in ships to the Egypt by a route which I told you that you would never see again, and there you will be offer yourself for sale to your enemies as male and female slaves, but there will be no buyer. These are the words of the covenant which the Lord commanded Moses to make with the Israelites in the land of the Moab, in the addition to the covenant he made with them at Horeb. Deuteronomy chapter 29, past the favorite record. Moses summoned on Israel and said to them, you have seen with your own eyes all that the Lord did in the land of Egypt to the Pharaoh and all his servants and to all his land. The great testing your own eyes have seen, and those great signs and wonders. But the Lord has not given you a heart to understand, or eyes to see, or ears to hear until this day. I led you for 40 years in the wilderness. Your clothes did not fall from you in tatters, nor your sandals from your feet. It was not bread that you ate, nor wine or beer and you drank, so that you might know that I, the Lord, am your God. When you came to this place, Sihon, king of the Heshbon, and Og, king of the Bashan, came out to engage us in battle, but we defeated them, and took their land and gave it as a heritage to the Reubenite, the Gadite, and the half tribe of the Manasseh. Observe carefully the words of this covenant, therefore, in order that you may succeed in whatever you do. All Israel bound by covenant. You are standing today, all of you, in the presence of the Lord your God, tribal hands, elder and official, all of the men of Israel. Your children, your wives, and the resident alien who lives in your camp, from those who cut wood to those who drew water for you, to enter into the covenant of the Lord your God, which the Lord your God is making with you today with its cross, so that he may establish you today as his people, and he may be your God, as he promised you and as he swore to your ancestors, to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. But it is not with you alone that I am making this covenant with its cross, but with those who are standing here with us today in the presence of the Lord our God, and with those who are not here with us today, warning against the idolaters. You know that we live in the land of Egypt, and that we passed through the nation that you are to pass through, and so the loathsome things and the idol of the wood and stone, of gold and silver that they possess. There may be among you a man or woman or clan or tribe whose heart is now turning away from the Lord our God to go and serve the God of these nations. There may be among you a root bearing poison and wormwood. If any such person, after hearing the words of the discourse, should congratulate themselves, saying in their heart, I am safe, even though I walk in stubbornness of the heart, thereby sweeping away moist and dry alike. The Lord will never consent to pardon them. Instead, the Lord's burning wrath will flame against them. Every curse written in this book will bounce on them. And the Lord will blot out their names from under the heavens. The Lord will single them out from all the tribe of the Israel for doom, in keeping with all the curses of the covenant written in this book of the law. Punishment for idolaters. Future generation, your descendants who will rise after you, as well as the foreigners who will come here from distant land. When they see the calamity of this land and this area the Lord has inflicted upon it, all its soil burned out by sulfur and salt, unsown and unfruitful, without a blade of the grass, like the catastrophe of the Sodom and Gomorrah, Admah and Zeboim, which the Lord overthrew in his furious wrath. They and all the nation will ask, why has the Lord dealt thus with this land? Why this great outburst of the last? And they will say, because they abandoned the covenant of the Lord, the God of the ancestors, which he had made with them when he brought them out of the land of Egypt. And they went and served the other God and bowed down to them, God who they did not know and whom he had not apportioned to them. So the anger of the Lord flamed against this land and brought on it every curse written in these books. The Lord uprooted them from their soil in the anger of fury and great wrath and cast them out into another land as they are today. The hidden things belong to the Lord our God, but the revealed things are for us and for our children forever, to observe all the words of this law. Deuteronomy chapter 13, compassion for the repentant. When all these things, the blessing and the curse which I have set before you, come upon you, and you take them to the heart in any of the nation where the Lord your God has dispersed you, and return to the Lord your God, obeying his voice according to all what that I am commanding you today, you and your children, with your whole heart and your whole being. The Lord your God will restore your fortune and will have compassion on you. He will again gather you from all the people where the Lord your God has scattered you. Though you may have been dispersed to the far distant corner of the heavens, even from there will the Lord your God gather you. Even from there will he bring you back. The Lord your God will then bring you into the land your ancestors once possessed, that you may possess it, and he will make you more prosperous and numerous than your ancestors. The Lord your God will circumcise your heart and the heart of your descendants, so that you will love your Lord your God with your whole heart and your whole being, in order that you may live. The Lord your God will put all those curses on your enemies, and the foes will pursue you. You, however, shall again obey the voice of the Lord and observe all his commandments which I am giving you today. Then the Lord your God will generously increase your undertakings, the fruit of your wombs, the offspring of your livestock, and the produce of your soil. For the Lord your God will again take a delight in your prosperity, just as he took delight in your ancestors. Because you will obey the voice of the Lord your God, keeping the commandments and the statutes that are written in this book of the law. When you return to the Lord your God with your whole heart and your whole being. For this command which I am giving you today is not too wondrous or remote for you. It is not in the heavens that you should say, who will go up to the heaven to get it for us and tell us of it, that we may do it? Nor it is across the sea that you should say, who will cross the sea to get it for us and tell us of it, that we may do it? No, it is something very near to you, in your mouth and in your heart to do it, the choice before Israel. See, I have today set before you life and good, death and evil. If you obey the commandment of the Lord your God, which I am giving you today, loving the Lord your God and working in his ways, and keeping his commandment, statute, and ordinance. You will live and grow numerous, and the Lord your God will bless you in the land you are entering to possess. If, however, your heart turns away and you do not obey, but are led astray and bow down to the other gods and serve them, I tell you today that you will certainly perish. You will not have a long life on the land which you are crossing the Jordan to enter and possess. I call heaven and earth today to witness against you. I have set before you life and death, the blessing and the curse. Choose life, then you are your descendant may live. By loving the Lord your God, obeying his voice, and holding fast to him, for that will be mean a life for you, a long life for you to live on the land which the Lord swore to your ancestors, to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, to give to them. Deuteronomy chapter 31, the Lord's leadership. When Moses had finished speaking these words to all Israel, he said to them, I am now 120 years old and am no longer able to go out and come in. Besides, the Lord has said to me, do not cross this Jordan. It is the Lord your God who will cross before you. He will destroy this nation before you, that you may dispossess them. It is Joshua who will cross before you, as the Lord promised. The Lord will deal with them just as he dealt with Sihon and Og, the king of the Amorites, and with their country when he destroyed them. When therefore the Lord delivered them up to you, you shall deal with them according to the whole commandment which I have given you. Be strong and steadfast, have no fear or dread of them, for it is the Lord your God who marched with you. He will never fail you or forsake you. Call of Joshua. Then Moses summoned Joshua, and in the presence of the Lord said to him, Be strong and stay fast, for you shall bring these people into the land which the Lord swore to their ancestors he would give them. It is you who will give them possession of it. It is the Lord who goes before you. He will be with you and will never fail you or forsake you, so do not fear or be dismayed. The reading of the law. When Moses had written down this law, he gave it to the Levitical priest who carried the ark of the covenant of the Lord, and to all elders of Israel. Moses commanded them, saying, On the feast of the booths at the prescribed time in the year of the remission, which comes at the end of every 7-year period, when all Israel goes to appear before the Lord your God in the place which he will choose, you shall read this law aloud in the presence of the Israel. Assemble the people, men, women, and the children, as well as the resident aliens who live in your communities, that they may hear and so learn to fear the Lord your God, to observe carefully all the words of this law. Their children also who do not know it yet shall hear and learn to fear the Lord your God, as long as you live on the land which you are about to cross the Jordan to possess. Commission to Joshua. The Lord said to Moses, The time is now approaching for you to die. Summon Joshua and present yourself at the tent of the meeting, that I may commission him. So Moses and Joshua went and presented themselves at the tent of the meetings. And the Lord appeared at the tent in a column of the cloud. The column cloud stood at the entrance of the tent. Command to Moses. The Lord said to Moses, Soon you will be at rest with your ancestors, and then these people will prostitute themselves by following the foreign god among whom they will live in the land they are about to enter. They will forsake me and break the covenant which I made with them. At that time my anger will flare against them. I will forsake them and hide my face from them. They will become prey to be devoured, and much evil and destruction will befall them. At that time they will indeed say, It is not because our God is not in our midst that this evil have befallen us. Yet I will surely hide my face at that time because of all the evil they have done in the turning to the other gods. Now write out this song for yourself, teach it to the Israelites, and have them recite it, so that this song may be a witness for me against these Israelites. For when I have brought them into the land flowing with milk and honey, which I promised on the oath to their ancestors, and they have eaten and are satisfied and have grown fat, if they turn to other gods and serve them, despising me and breaking my covenant, then when great evil and distress before them, this song will speak to them as a witness, for it will not be forgotten if their descendants recite it. For I know what they are inclined to do even at the present time, before I have brought them into the land which I promised on earth. So Moses wrote this song that same day, and he taught it to the Israelites, commissioner of Joshua. Then he commissioned Joshua son of Nun and said to him, Be strong and steadfast, for it is you who will bring the Israelites into the land which I promised them on earth. I myself will be with you. The law placed in the ark. When Moses had finished writing out on a scroll of the words of this law in the entirety, Moses gave the Levite who carried the ark of the covenant of the Lord this order. Take this book of the law and put it beside the ark of the covenant of the Lord your God, that there it may be a witness against you. For I already know how rebellious and stiff-necked you will be. Why, even now, while I am alive among you, you have been rebellious against the Lord. How much more then after I am dead? Assemble all your tribal elders and your officials before me, that I may speak these words for them to hear, and so may call heaven and earth to witness against them. For I know that after my death you are sure to act corruptly and to turn aside from the way along which I commanded you, so that evil will be before you in time to come, because you have done what is evil in the Lord's sight, and provoked him by your deeds. The song of Moses. Then Moses recited the words of this song in their entirety for the whole assembly of the Israel to hear. Deuteronomy chapter 32. Give ear, O heavens, and let me speak. Let the earth hear the words of my mouth. May my teaching soak in like the rain, and my utterance drench like the dew, like a downpour upon the grass, like the shower upon the crops. For I will proclaim the name of the Lord, praise the greatness of our God. The rock, how fortress are his deeds, how right all his ways, a faithful God without deceit, just and upright is he. Yet his degenerate children have treated him basely, a twisted and crooked generation. Is this how you repay the Lord, so foolish and unwise of peoples? Is it not your Father who begat you, the one who made and established you? Remember the days of the old, consider the year of the generation past. Ask your father, he will inform you. Your elders, they will tell you. When the Most High allotted each nation its heritage, when he separated out human beings, he set up the boundaries of the peoples after the number of the divine being. But the Lord's portion was his people. He allotted share was Jacob. He found them in the wilderness, the wasteland of the howling deserts. He shielded them, cared for them, guarded them as the apple of his eyes. As an eagle inside its nestling, hovering over its young, so he spread his wings, took them, bore them upon his pinions. The Lord alone guided them, nor a foreign God was with them. He had them mount the summit of the land, fed them the produce of the field. He succored them with the honey from cracks and olive oil from the flinty rocks. Borrowed from cows and milk from sheep, with the best of the lambs, Bashan bulls and the goat, with the cream of the finest wheat, and the foaming blood of the grape you drank. So Jacob ate and was satisfied. Jeshurun grew fat and kicked. You became fat and grossed and gasped. They forsook the God who made them and scorned the rock of their salvation. With strange God they incite him, with the abomination provoked him to anger. They sacrifice to demon to no God, to God they have never known. You comers from afar, before whom your ancestors had never trembled. You are unmindful of the rock that begat you. You forgot the God who gave you birth. The Lord saw and was afraid the loathing, provoked by his sons and daughters. He said, I'll hide my face from them and see what becomes of them, for they are fickle generation, children with no loyalty in them. Since they have incited me with the no God and provoked me with their empty idols, I will incite them with the no people, with a foolish nation I will provoke them. For by my wrath a fire is kindled that has raised to the depths of the Sheol. It was consumed the earth with its air and set on fire a foundation of the mountains. I will heap evils upon them and exhaust all my arrows against them. Emaciating hunger and consuming fever and bitter pestilence, and the teeth of the wild beast I'll send among them, with the venom of the reptile gliding in the dust. Out in the street the sword shall be raised, and at home the terror. For the young man and the young woman alike, the nursing baby as well as the gray beard. I said I'll make an end on them and blot out their name from human memories. Had I not feared the provocation by the enemy, that their foes might misunderstand and say, our own hand won the victory, the Lord had nothing to do with any of it. For they are nation devoid of the reason, having no understanding. If they had the insight, they would realize this, they would understand their end. How could one rout 1,000 or to put 10,000 to a flight? Unless it was because their rock sold them, the Lord delivered them out. Indeed, their rock is not like our rock, our enemies are fools. For their vine is from the vine of the Sodom, from the vineyard of the Gomorrah. Their grapes are grapes of the poison, and their crusts are bitter. Their wine is the venom of the serpent, the cruel poison of vipers. Is not this the store up with me, sealed up in my storehouses? Vengeance is mine and the recompense for the time they lose their footing, because the day of their distress is at hand, and their doom is rushing upon them. Surely the Lord will do justice for his people, on his servant he will have pity. When he sees their strength is gone, and neither bone nor free is left, he will say, where are their God, their rock in whom they took refuge? Who ate the fat of the sacrifice and drank the wine of their libations? Let them rise up now and help you. Let them be your protections. See now that I alone am he, and there is no God besides me. It is I who bring both death and life, I who inflict the wounds and heal them, and from my hand no one can deliver. For I raise my hand to the heavens and will say, as surely as I live forever. When I am sharpen my flashing sword, and my hand raise hold of judgment, with the vengeance I will repay my foes and requite those who hate me. I'll make my arrows drunk with blood, and my sword shall devour flesh, with the blood of the slain and the captured, from the long hair the heads of the enemy. Exalt with him your heavens, bow to him all your divine being. For he will avenge the blood of his servant, take vengeance on his foes. He will require those who hate him, and purge his people land. So Moses, together with Hoshea, son of Nun, went and spoke all the words of this song in the hearing of the peoples. final appears. When Moses had finished speaking all these words to all Israel, he said to them, "Take to heart all the words that I am giving in the witness against you today. Words you should command your children, that they observe carefully every rule of this law. For this is no trivial matter for you, but rather your very life. By these words you will enjoy a long life on the land you are crossing the Jordan to possess." Moses looks upon Canaan. On that very day the Lord said to Moses, "Ascend the mountain of the Ephraim, Mount Nebo in the land of the Moab facing Jericho, and view the land of the Canaan which I am giving to the Israelites as a possession. Then you shall die on the mountain you are about to ascend, and shall be gathered to your peoples, just as your brother Aaron died on the mountain Hor, and there was gathered to his peoples. Because both of you broke faith with me among the Israelites at the wall of the Meribah Kadesh in the wilderness of Zin, you did not manifest my holiness among the Israelites. You may indeed see the land from a distance, but you shall not enter the land which I am giving to the Israelites." Deuteronomy chapter 33 is a blessing upon the tribes. This is the blessing with which Moses, the man of God, blessed the Israelites before he died. He said, "The Lord came from Sinai and dawned on his people from Seir. He shone forth from Mountain Paran. With him were myriad of holy ones. At his right hand advanced the gods. Indeed, the love of the peoples, all the holy ones are at your side. They'll follow and your hearers carry out your decisions." Moses charged with the law as a possession for the assembly of the Jacob. King arose in Jeshurun when the chief of the people assembled and the tribe of the Israel united. "May the Reuben live and not die out, but let his numbers be few." Of Judah he said this, "Hear, Lord, the voice of the Judah, and bring him to his people. His own hands defend his cause, be a help against his foes." Of Levi he said, "Give to Levi your Thummim, your Urim to your faithful one. Him you tested at the Marshal, contended against him at the wall of the Meribah. He said of his father and mother, I have no regard for them. His brother he would not acknowledge, and his own children he did not recognize. For they kept your words and your covenant they upheld. They teach your ordinance to Jacob, your law to Israel. They bring incense to your nostrils and burnt offering to your altar. Bless the Lord his strength, be pleased with the work of his hand, crush the loins of his adversaries and of his foes, that they may not arise. Of Benjamin he said, the blood of the Lord, he abides in safety beside him, he shelters him all day long. The beloved abide at his breast. Of Joseph he said, blessed by the Lord is his land, with the best of the heaven above, and of the abyss crouching beneath, with the best of the produce of the sun, and the choicest air of the month, with the finest gift of the ancient mountain, and the best from the everlasting hills, with the best of the earth and its fullness, and the favor of the one who dwells on Sinai. Let this come upon the head of the Joseph and upon the brow of the prince among his brothers. His firstborn bull majesty is his horns are the horns of the wild ox. With them he gorged the peoples, attacked the end of the earth. These are the myriad of the Ephraim, and these the thousand of the Manasseh. Of Zebulun he said, rejoice, Zebulun, in your expedition, exalt Issachar in your tent. They invite people to the mountain where they offer right sacrifice, because they suck up the abundance of the seas and the hidden treasure of the sand. Of Gad he said, Blessed be the one who has made Gad so vast. He rises there like a lion, he tears the arm, the head as well. He saw that best should be his, for there the command portion was assigned. He came at the head of the people, he carried out the justice of the Lord and his ordinance for Israel. Of Dan he said, Dan is a lion cub that sprang away from a viper. Of Naphtali he said, Naphtali abounding with favor, filled with the blessing of the Lord, take possession of the west and south. Of Asher he said, most blessed of the son be Asher, may he be the favorite among the brothers, and may he dip his foot in oils. May the bolt of your gate be iron and bronze, may your strength endure through all your days. There is none like the God of the Jeshurun, who raised the heaven in his power, who raised the cloud in his majesty. The God of all Israel, like his support are the arms of the everlasting. He drove the enemy out of the way, and he said, Destroy. Israel abides securely, Jacob dwells apart, in the land of the grain and wine, where the heavens drip with dew. Happy are you, Israel, who is like you, a people delivered by the Lord, your help and the shield and the sword of your glory. Your enemies cringe before you, you stride upon their backs. Deuteronomy chapter 34. Then Moses went up from the plains of the Moab to the mountain Nab to pick up the Pisgah which faced Jericho, and the Lord showed him all the land, Gilead, and as far as Dan. All Naphtali, the land of the Ephraim and the Manasseh, all the land of the Judah, as far as the western sea. Then they gave the plain, the valley of the Jericho, the city of the palms, as far as Jorah. The Lord then said to him, This is the land about which I promised on oath to the Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I will give it to your descendant. I have let you see it with your own eyes, but you shall not cross over. So there in the land of the Moab, Moses, the servant of the Lord, died as the Lord had said. And he was buried in the valley in the land of the Moab, opposite the Beth Peor. To this day, no one knows the place of his burial. Moses was 120 years old when he died, yet his eyes were undimmed and his vigor unabated. The Israelites wept for Moses in the plains of the Moab for 30 days, till they had completed the period of the grief and the mourning for Moses. Now Joshua son of Nun was filled with the spirit of the wisdom, since Moses had laid his hands upon him. And so Israelites gave him their obedience, just as the Lord had commanded Moses. Since then, no prophet has arisen in Israel like Moses, whom the Lord knew face to face. In all sign and wonder the Lord sent him to perform in the land of Egypt against the Pharaoh and all his servants and against all his land. And all the great might and the awesome power that Moses displayed in the sight of the all Israel.